Before we start this live stream, I'd like to go over a few community guidelines. Please be civil, respectful, and tactful to all people, groups, and organizations we may be talking about. It's okay to not like everyone, and please use extreme tact while talking about these things. I want to keep the environment very positive around you. Please no graphic sex, violence, death, and I'll add in politics. Let's keep our politics at the door. And let's keep this channel suitable for the entire family to enjoy. Let's have some fun, guys. Let's have some fun. Oh my goodness. Hello, everyone. Good morning. It's a wild morning. I tell you, I'm so sorry. I made a horrible mistake and put the wrong time for this morning, but it's working out just fine. I mean, the show has always been at 10 o'clock in the morning, but yeah, just one of those typos that just kind of makes you go, what? What happened? Yeah, so that's the morning so far. Very interesting. But thank you for being here. I see that Unicorn Rampant Studio, also good to see you, is here. Says, I was just about to post this was listed for tonight instead of this morning. Yeah, I just realized that. And walking the dogs in the rain. Good morning, RNG. Good morning to you as well. It is, yeah, it's kind of overcast today where I'm at too, and it's I would love to see the sun again. And Unicorn says I was listening most last night. Oh, okay. But I was in a state of of dog pile. Oh man, yeah, yeah, it's really wild. Um, Thank you. I appreciate you trying to listen to the conversation last night. I really had a good time. I do kind of like the later schedule, but I don't know. We had such a good conversation, but it is really late. I can end up talking for hours, and next thing I know, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Luckily, that didn't happen today, last night. And Keith E is here. Hello, Keith E. So good to see you. Says I can hear you at 11 a.m. Yes, yeah, it should be over by East Coast 11 a.m. right now. That is awesome. Thank you for being here as well. And Katie says you sent me 2 messages. I guess they didn't make your way through. Oh, okay. So yeah, it's been, and see, this is something I'm going to address this week, or maybe next week or this week. I desperately need a break. I talked about it last night, and I need to take some time off to kind of just recalibrate and refresh, maybe a little spring cleaning, both mentally and physically and spatially. And so I think I probably need to get some rest, or get some um, just a break. And so I'm trying to work out exactly when that would be a good thing to do. I'm thinking possibly in the next 2 weeks. I only need like 2 weeks. I'm not gonna spend more than that. But anybody who is a member or Patreon will still have, um, and there will not be any difference to anything. So they will still get their videos. Um, but like live streams, I think I'm gonna take a 2 week break from any live streams, for a few, and collabs as well, because I've been getting a lot of collabs, and that's wonderful. But it also, I'm like, oh, I got so much to do. And William Blake Hall is here and says, hey, gang, I have home care coming, but I can spend a minute. Hey, Rhinoceros, Hooper, Retro. I'm so glad that you guys are here. And I can, yeah, inform you guys that a break is coming. Ooh, well, ooh, excuse me. Also, allergies are coming too. It's like, and unicorn saying wave. And William Blake Hall says recalibration time sounds good. Sounds like a capital idea retro. Yeah, yeah, just just to get everything together. Nothing bad is happening. It's just I feel like I'm out of sorts a little bit, and I need to like just get a grapple hold on everything. And Unicorn says the sooner the better for you, RNG. You need the break when you need the break. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like I know that you sent me this wonderful piece of artwork, and I've been meaning to do something with it. And I haven't, like, my brain hasn't been working on the creative side as far as like, like being creative. And so I am a naturally creative person, and I need a little bit of a creative like moment. And William Blake Hall says, "I appreciated your look at the Andromeda stream. Oh, that was so much fun! Oh my God, I had a blast with that. It was wonderful. What a movie! What a movie! What a movie! I think I, there was a moment after the movie, and I was like, kind of sat there, and I was like, what do I think of this? And it was like, oh, I love it. It was great. It was just great. I loved it. Yes. And the first part was really surprisingly shocking in a very like visceral way because of the devastation in the wake of the Andromeda stream. And it was it kind of went into a different kind of way when when we started talking to dealing with the scientists and all their stuff. And I really appreciated the kind of third party view of it instead of I didn't feel like I was one of the scientists. I just felt like we were watching the scientists, and that was kind of nice, and rooting for them. So yeah, I had a great time. So I appreciated doing it, and thank you for guys for suggesting that I do that one, and uh, I really appreciate it. And Keith E says, "I will be cleaning and listening for a little while here." Oh yes, oh so cool. You're cleaning. Yeah, I want to do that. I want to clean up and around, just organize things for myself. And I have some ideas that might help me be more efficient and also like dive into some of the projects that I want to do. And it's really great. And William Blakehall says, when you need to save the world, call a hall. Oh, that's so awesome. Thank you. Guys, before I start this, I wanted to play a little video for you that I from a bit of conversation that I had last night that I thought was really cool, and it really describes kind of my missions on the ISS. IFSS. So let's see if I can find it. Oh, I might not be able to bring it up. Um, let's see if it'll allow me to do that. Yes, here it is. So let's see if it'll allow me. All right, we're back for week 6. I don't know. Okay, that's not it. That was why didn't that work? I did edit something down last night. Oh gosh, that's not what I was looking for. I must have did the wrong thing. I think I got the wrong information. So it's such a cool little video. Well, too bad. Okay, well, I'll have to show you guys in a different time. It was really a cute little video that I put together really quickly. But it was really kind of describing what I do here. And William Blake Hall says, when you need, yes, okay, I did read that one, and I'm going to start. Thank you. Okay, so we'll get started with the minus. Let's just go ahead and get started with the day. And so we did have some passings this week, and it really is really sad. So let's see who we've got here. We've got Gremlins and Star Wars actor Mark Dodson, who passed on this week, and he was 64. We have Paolo Taviani, award-winning Italian actor, died at 92. And this one was really shocking, and it basically happened right after my morning stream with you guys last week. Richard Lewis, the comedian, actor, comedian, um, and it says that he starred alongside Larry David in Curb Your Enthusiasm. Has died at 76. Um, and Lewis announced last April that he had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease and was retiring from stand-up comedy. So wow, that was quite a short retirement. He was, and a lot of people remember him from Robin Hood, Men in Tights, and so many other things that he had done in the past. So this kind of hurts a little bit, stings a little bit for us who remember him. Now for the box office, guys. Guess what opened this week? Dune 2 opened this week, and of course it's number one, and it's doing very well. It's tracking very well. If you notice, Bob Marley has been out for 3 weeks, and they're pretty much neck and neck with the gross. So this is a very, very a good start for Dune 2. The reviews for Dune 2 is absolutely astronomical. There may be a few people who did not enjoy the movie, and there's some people who liked the movie but had issues. Still, it's doing incredible numbers. So it's not enough to change the fact that a lot of people are going to see this movie for the cinematic um, sort of like incredible thing that they're seeing on screen. So I think that is it. And also, IMAX really has a big impact on this. And this is a movie absolutely made for IMAX. So I think it's doing very well. Bob Marley, One Love is went down to number 2. It's doing great though. It's doing great. As you can see, the numbers are they're we have a movie like Dune come out, and you see the difference between the numbers after being out there for 3 weeks. And so it just has been a slow time. People haven't been motivated to go to the theater like that, but Dune is making people go out to the movie theater, and that's really quite astonishing. We have Ordinary Angels, and at number 3, we've got The Chosen, which is holding on very fiercely on the top 5, and number 4. And number 5 is Madam Web, which is, I think at this point, people are going to the theater to experience sort of have a little fun with the movie. And so I was expecting it to be much lower, but it's kind of hanging in there, but it will never make the numbers it needs to actually be a success. So unfortunately, for that movie, it's holding on, but it's unfortunately that people are not going to the theater to see that in droves. Migration is one that is holding on again to the top spot, top 5 or top 10. Migration, a nice family film. Demon Slayer. This is the second week. It's on up to number 7. Wonka is still in the running. This is wonderful for Wonka at number 8. Number 9, Argyle. Argyle is still out there. It didn't make mass numbers, but it's still, on the chart. So people are still going to see it. Beekeeper is one that people wrote off. There were a lot of people wrote off Beekeeper, but I think somewhere along the lines, Beekeeper found its fandom, and people are going to the theater to see that. I think Argyle is another one of those movies too, where I think there's a small bit of people who really enjoyed it quite a bit. And at number 11, just under the top 10, we've got Drive Away Dolls, which I haven't heard anything about this movie. And number 12, we've got Perfect Days, which is an Oscar-nominated movie, so a lot of people are going to see that for the Oscars. and Anyone But You is at number 13, which is sort of the sleeper hit, if you will, that just came out of nowhere, and everybody's just like, "What is going on? How did this rom-com kind of take over the box office as much as it has?" Because we haven't seen any rom-coms do this well in a very long time. And so, yes, this is wonderful for Sony Pictures too, because they've been getting a lot of flack from movies like Madam Web and from its Spider-Man universe really not doing very well. And so they needed this win. They really do. And I think a lot of these companies that are spending a whole lot of time on superhero films, and it's not that they should not do superhero films, but they should really concentrate on those other projects that may be a lot less expensive, they can get some return on. And One by But You is definitely one of those pictures. They got a nice one there. So good on Sony Pictures. They needed it. All right, so I also promised that we were going to go through the Academy Awards, and I was going to give some predictions about what individuals and what movies were going to be winners. And let's just go through that really quickly, because I think there's a lot of names to go through, and I think we can do it rather quickly because I have a little setup here for that. So. Before we get into that, let's see what you guys are saying in the chit chat. Charles is here. Says Richard Lewis will be missed. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Very sad to hear that he got sick, and likewise about his passing. And Charles says, "I saw Dune 2 and it was fantastic." Yes, it's a cinematic achievement. I think it broke some new ground visually. It really does some incredible things. The first Dune I thought was just absolutely incredible as well. So the standards has not changed. We don't have a diminished quality at all. It actually amped things up for the modern audience, and I think it's a wonderful film. I think it is. I do have some criticisms about it because nitpicks, if you will, because of areas where it changed or veered away from the book. But on the most part, I think it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And Blake Hall says, "Wish Argyle was still available, but I appreciated Dune 2." Oh, great, great. And William says, "Remember Dune 2, others as you would Dune 2 as others as you would have Dune 2 and the." That's really hilarious. Well, let me say the whole thing like it's ought to be said. Remember, Dune to others as you would have them Dune to you. Keithy, I hope you're watching this and jotting this down for your cavalry of jokes. That's actually really good. And Charles says, "I love Beekeeper. Action is solid. Awesome. Yeah, I think that's really, I think that the prevailing thing there. I remember the first week it came out, and the critics were not kind, and there were also some people who felt like um, they could just dunk on David Ayer because of Suicide Squad and how badly it was received by people. And even though the man has gone on and on to explain that his movie was taken from him and was edited by a trailer company, and he did not have final edit. He did not have any control over that movie once it was finished filming. So they did some very unsavory things to that movie and left most of the Joker's scenes on the cutting room floor. So no one actually knew what was going on. It was very, very poorly handled, and I think a lot of people blame him as the director uh, because of something where the studio had stepped in. When you have something like an Oppenheimer, though, where you've got a director who has complete control over a movie, you see how that director becomes an artist, right? And you can't like Dune too, or Dune. There's when a director has their hand to say, "Look, I want the movie like this," and I think at that point, uh, you can definitely fairly say, whether you like it or not, like, "Hey, that person made some good decisions or bad decisions." But when it's taken away, you don't have the opportunity. It's really um, terrible, I think. Or I would hate to ever be in a situation like that. And William Blake Hall says, maintaining statham ho, stay them ho quo, the stay them quote. Uh, and of course, allergies are definitely loving me right now. They're coming. Actually, give me a moment. There we go. Only needed a few moments. Okay, so the first one up is the nominees for film editing. Um, we have Anatomy of a Fall, Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. And my pick was Oppenheimer. And the reason why I picked Oppenheimer, and maybe I can go into a little description of how I make these my predictions, is basically I did happen to see Oppenheimer, but I didn't get to see all of the others. But I am an avid watcher of a lot of programs that talk about movies that are currently out. And I love looking and reading the reviews. I like a lot of those channels on YouTube where they can really get into a lot of detail about the movie and also talk about who they think they are going to win. So on the streets, it's definitely Oppenheimer. Also, based on the fact that they've been getting a lot of awards. So the things that have been trending as far as awards have been going, I also are part of the pick. So Oppenheimer so far has been beating everyone out for film editing on this, but I believe the other movie let me see if I from my notes, because I do have some extra notes here. Um, I do have a runner up in case. Um, let's see. Editing, Oppenheimer is the only one that's really the clear, um, standout here, I think, as far as that. Now, the next one is sound. And the nominees are The Creator, Maestro, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Oppenheimer, and Zone of Interest. And for sound, Zone of Interest is the one that kind of is the popular one to win at this point. Oppenheimer is one that I thought, for me personally, I loved the sound in Oppenheimer, and that was actually my instinct, was to go with that. But as far as from what I've congregated from different sources, and the fact that Zone of Interest, I believe, won the BAFTAs as well. Um, I think that Zone of Interest may win it. Original score. Um, for original score, let's see, Oppenheimer. I think that's a clear winner from in my eyes. But um, I don't have another movie to contend with it. They have been very, very as far as the award trends, it's been going to Oppenheimer. Now, the other thing is that John Williams is also uh, going to be nominated, and so I don't know if John Williams, if they just are going to give him an award for, his umpteenth award, or if they will do this for Oppenheimer. This will be very testy and interesting, to see exactly who is going to win this. But Oppenheimer is the clear winner for the time being that I can um, grasp hold of. All right, and then the nominees for original song. This is actually a really popular one. We've got Fire Inside for Flaming Hot. I'm just Ken. I'm just Ken from Barbie. It never went away from American Symphony. Yeah, American Symphony. Uh, Wahazi, A Song for My People, Killers of the Flower Moon, and What Was I Made For? Barbie. Now, um, I I picked What Was I Made For? And that is because it's again, award trending has been in the favor of What Was I Made For? I do know that I'm Just Ken will be performed live at the Oscars, and Wazahi, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Sorry, forgive me. Is one that is um, probably uh, one that people would like to win, but also What Was I Made For kind of hit a primal note as far as being a little bit different than a lot of the other songs. So it's got a strong possibility to win. Let's see what you guys are saying. Oh, Zachariah 315 is here. Good morning. Good morning to you, Zachariah. So good to see you. And William Blake Hall says, I agree on Op. Yeah, Appy is gonna win a lot of awards, I think. And Taylor Swift greater than Disney, Star Wars, and MCU. Matt G is here. Hello. So good to see you. I love the little waving sign. So awesome. Yes, yes. And yes, I think What Was I Made For is probably gonna get it, but Wazahi might be the upset. You know what I mean? Uh, and I'm Just Ken is sort of an honorable mention because it was so impactful. If it wins, I would be shocked. I would be really shocked. But it did win one of the other awards, so we'll have to keep our eyes on I'm Just Ken. And costume design. I think the clear winner here is going to be Poor Things. A lot of people have been commenting on hair and makeup and costume and for Poor Things and even production design. So I think it is trending, of course, with the award season. Definitely, Poor Things have been racking up in this department. And production design. Um, well, my hope is that it goes to Barbie. That was actually pretty special, I would say. But it may just go to Poor Things as the upset. I think it might go. It's like between the two, but Barbie is a stronger pull for that, and it's been trending that way as far as the awards go. Adapted screenplay. We've got American Fiction, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Zone of Interest. And Barbie is the one that I would think is the adapted screenplay because um, there's a lot of talk about Barbie being snubbed for Best Picture and actress, or some by Margot Robbie. And I think this may be one of those mercy mercy ones. Like it was a really great screenplay in my opinion. I thought it was brilliant on several notes. And so I think they want to give this screenplay some kind of recognition. But here's the upset. Is it American Fiction? I think some people think that American Fiction is good. Let me just see, adapted screenplay. American Fiction is the other one that I have on my list that people have actually been saying that it is a strong contender. So it could be an upset on that and not actually go to Barbie. And original screenplay, which a lot of people thought Barbie should have been on, but actually because Barbie is a character that has had many iterations, it is adapted. So the original screenplay, Anatomy of a Fall, which is like people are just loving. The Holdovers, another one. Maestro, May December, Past Lives. And we've got Anatomy of a Fall. I heard that the script for that is just phenomenal. Some of the things that happen in that movie is just incredible, and it's been trending that way. And during award season, that Anatomy of a Fall has been getting a lot of the awards for this. So, international feature film. We've got Io Capitano. We've got Perfect Days, Society of the Snow, uh, the Teacher's Lounge, and Zone of Interest. I think this is got a clear. Oh, is it a clear winner? Would I say that? Um, oh, actually, it's not a clear winner. Um, it's looking like Perfect Days because a lot of people who've seen Perfect Days love it, but there's also a lot of people who really, really love the Zone of Interest. So it could be either or, but I picked Perfect Days because I've heard a lot more comments about how unique that movie is. Um, so, uh, yeah. Then we have animated feature film. And we've got Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And um, okay, so I picked Boy and the Heron because it's been trending like that for a lot of the awards, but a lot of people really feel like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse might get it. I might finally get a recognition in the Academy Awards. It would be nice to see a superhero movie get an award like this. But we just, it's kind of one of those things where we only have to wait and see. But the Boy and the Heron, it's just been getting so many accolades, and it fits the Oscars profile for winning. Is all I want to say. It definitely fits the Oscars profile for winning. And we've got visual effects. The Creator, Godzilla -1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, Napoleon. And here's what the people say. Ben Zosmer actually had posted this on X, and this is actually from the Hollywood Reporter. I've got another visual like this, but they did their own poll, and people from the poll said that The Creator might be the winner, but I haven't heard any buzz as for that. But it is a very unique, visually unique movie, and so it may get some an award because it truly does look incredible. I think visually, but Godzilla -1 is at second place, and people really like that movie. That people really like that movie. Sort of like how RRR kind of came in and took over the scene. This is one of those things where if Godzilla -1 wasn't around, I would probably say for sure The Creator. Um, but I think Godzilla might win it because of if they don't give it to Godzilla minus one. There may be a horrible upset. People might just start booing and like literally eating each other in the audience. It's one of those things like people have just gone out of their way to really praise this movie, especially when you look at the budget for the movie versus how it all came out visually. And I think and the way those visual effects serve the story, I think this is probably gonna be the winner. If it's not, like I said, people are going to be upset and on a big, big, uh, you know, seriously, there people are seriously upset. And I think also, it's like the favorite. It is the favorite. Um, and now for cinematography, um we've got, Alconde, we've got Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. And the pick is Oppenheimer. The cinematography on that is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I mean, the only other movie that I would say, like, that visually has that ability at this point would have been Dune 2 if it had came out last year. Oof, it would have been really, um, not a clear winner for this category, but Oppenheimer wins it hands down. It's just beautifully done and like a cinematic feast for the eyes. Absolutely. And actor in a supporting role. We're getting to the nitty gritty. Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction, Robert De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling for Barbie, Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. And my pick, as well as the word on the streets, is Robert Downey Jr. I mean, I think that's a no brainer. He is absolutely brilliant in that movie, um, and just he's a scene stealer, and it I think we all want this for him since he was never ever nominated for anything for the many years he worked on Iron Man and in the MCU. So I think he's the crowd favorite, but also he was incredible. He really was incredible. And this is a man who has been acting for many, many years in so many movies that I think it's been overlooked by the events of his personal life, and so this is one time I think he really, um, you know, has really been able to show us what he can do. Unfortunately, after the MCU, he went and did a couple of movies that I don't think were really great for him. That one Disney movie, I think he did, Doctor Dolittle, was didn't do very well. But this is really, uh, quite remarkable. And, for an actress in a supporting role, we've got Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks, The Color Purple, America Ferrara, Barbie, Jodie Foster, Nyad, and Davine, Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. And I think I must have lost this cue, but Davine Joy Randolph is the favorite right now, um, based on um, previous awards that she's been winning for this category, and it looks like she's probably the clear winner at this point. The Holdovers, I heard, was an incredible film, and they said that she's wonderful in it. Uh, And, if there was anyone to upset, would be Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer. She was fantastic, but, like I said, as far as trends and all that stuff, they may actually go with, Divine is her name Divine? Or I think it's Divine Joy Randolph. Yeah. And let me just check with you guys to see if you're doing good, you're listening. And right now, okay, so actor in a leading role: Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Coleman Domingo for Houston, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. I think the last three are the strongest as far as possibilities of winning, but people have been really liking Oppenheimer and Cillian Murphy's performance in particular. He was mesmerizing on camera. I couldn't take my eyes off of him. He was really riveting, and his accent as Oppenheimer was just incredible. I loved it. I felt like I was in the 50s uh, when I was watching that movie, and just him like giving 100% to the vernacular of that time period, and just like body language, everything was just so great. I felt like he disappeared into Oppenheimer. And now I didn't get to see the other movies, but as far as the awards trend has been going towards uh, Cillian Murphy. But from what I heard on the streets, Paul Giamatti has a chance to win because of the holdovers being so good. So he could be the upset. He could be the upset. And actress in a leading role, we've got Annette Bening for Naiad, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. Now, this one is really difficult, and I was trying to do. I did some research, and it was like trying to break everything down to see, okay, which one is going to get it. Who's been winning all the awards, and it's been kind of split between Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone. Uh, and we've got this poll going. I mean, look at how close it is with Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone. They both have Stone in the last name. Very, very fascinating because it will come down to those two ladies, I believe. And either one, it'll be great for both of them. The Academy is really strange. So the Academy may give it to Emma because uh, she's never been this close to an Oscar, at least not in my memory. Like this is her like foray into that arena. But she's been a well-known actress for a very long time. So we also have Lily Gladstone, who is kind of just came on the scene as far as our awareness of her. She may have been working for many years, but we're just finding out about her, and so they may give it to her as sort of like they always kind of sometimes give it to newcomers to inspire them to keep going. And for someone like Emma, who's like pretty much solid in everything that she does, they're like, okay, uh, you know, keep going. We'll eventually give you like an award, right? Probably a lifetime achievement award at some point. And so this is kind of the dilemma of the Oscars, where we're like, it's kind of weird how they have um, they make their choices. It's really strange. But Lily Gladstone is pulling out slightly ahead by a point. It looks like here. So we're gonna. I think Lily is gonna win this because of that, um, and also it's great optics for the Oscars because they have had a very bad track record in the past with their dealings with Native um, individuals, and I think as far as they love doing sort of that first evers, and Lily winning actress in a leading role would be a first. and so they also like doing that too. So, uh, and I think that also keeps them in the news and keeps their cycle. So I think there's a lot going on for the decision on that one. For the best director, this is a good one. Anatomy of a Fall. I can't really quite get this lady's last name, but her name is Justine Triet, I believe. Killers of the Flower Moon, Martin Scorsese, Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan, Poor Things, Valagos Lanthimos, I believe, uh, and The Zone of Interest, Jonathan Glazer. Sorry if I got some names wrong. Please forgive me. Um, and I believe that Oppenheimer is definitely going to get this because it's been winning all of the awards. I mean, absolutely all of the awards. This is the perfect award-winning movie. Also, this will be great for Christopher Nolan because he's been due for a while. He's just been in the business and really uh, chipping away slowly at creating like epic movies. And you know, The Dark Knight and all of his movies with Warner Brothers to do with DC, they really never got the accolades that it really ever should. I mean, it did win. Um, uh, there was one major win, but I think it really, as far as being recognized, when it comes to superhero movies, these guys don't want to have anything to do with them. Sometimes they'll appreciate an actor, but not always. But I think this is his moment. I think this is his moment. I hope so for him. If there's a contender, if there is a contender at all, it it might be Poor Things because people seem to really like the complexity of the um, subject matter of Poor Things. So, but Oppenheimer, I think, is the lead on this. And Best Picture, we know which one this is going to be. We got American Fiction, we've got Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, Holdovers, Killer of a Flower Moon, um, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, Zone of Interest. They could have add like 12 more on here. I have so many. And I think that the winner is going to be Oppenheimer, just based on, again, uh, the trends of award season. Everybody is pretty much in full agreement of how great the movie is. And so I think the words on the street, at least, is going to be Oppenheimer, and I agree. And I had the pleasure of actually seeing that one. And there's one that I didn't get to do an analysis on, and that's Best Documentary Feature. And that is clearly people seem to like 20 Days in Mariupol. So that will probably get it. I love these little research projects, and I love going down the tunnel. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. William Blake Hall says, I admire Giamatti, but he was a shtick, and the holdovers looked like more shtick. Oh, really? Yeah, because he's doing something weird with his eyes, and I thought it was like more comedy. So I don't know. I know people were saying that he's so good in it, but yeah, you never know. You never know with the Oscars. And William Blake Hall says, compromise, give the best actress to Lily Stone. Nice. What if they say that? That would make me laugh if somebody makes a mistake and says Lily Stone. Oh, William Blake Hall says, I want Nolan to get it, but he will act insufferable about it for the rest of his life. I love his I like that. I like that about him. I think he's he knows his stuff, and there are not too many people out there who actually do. I mean, but yeah, you're probably right. Like, I got an Oscar. I don't think any, well, who isn't? Who isn't if they once you get an Oscar? But yeah, he's I like him a lot. All right, so we get to the headlines. Let's see if I can breeze through these a little fast today because I didn't. There's so many stories, guys. Um, so, a legendary CEO says Dune Messiah will happen if Denis Villeneuve gets the script right and he feels that he can deliver another experience on par with that what we've just completed. Yes. So, Dune Messiah is the second book to the Dune book series, and it's a, a very complex story that continues. What happens after Dune, the first book, and so it is something I think I've always wanted to see on screen. A little bit of it was actually done on or visually shown in the TV series, TV miniseries that was done with the Sci-Fi Network, and it was actually really good. And the biggest problem for me was the visual cheekiness of it, but the story is solid, and they did a very good job of showing you a lot of detail about. Um, the way you would see these characters in the book. And I think it doesn't have the artistic expression of the Dune movie, but it did have some, and even good costumes, I would say, set pieces and things like that. But it failed when it came to the visual representation of a lot of some of the fantasticals of the special effects were just really, um, I would say not very good. They don't hold up. But one thing I will say about Dune Messiah, it will show us what happens to Paul and this looming sort of holy war that is about to happen, and the effects afterwards, and how this is going to affect him and his family. So it's actually really good. I would really love to see it. And Dune Part Two is expected to lose the number one spot at the domestic box office for Kung Fu Panda 4 that is opening up this coming weekend. So we'll see, because Kung Fu Panda looks interesting, it looks good, but I don't think it will get everyone. It's one of those things where it will get people with families, um, but I'm not sure we'll get you know like I'm not gonna I'm not gonna spend money to go to the theater to see Kung Fu Panda. Just it's not a cinematic spectacle, is what I'm saying. And Dune is a cinematic spectacle. If you love movies, you're probably gonna go see Dune for a second or maybe third time, just because of how beautiful the cinematography is, and visually the story, how the story is told, and maybe have even more insight to what we did see on screen. Dune Part 2 is reportedly needs to reach 500 million to break even, and that's kind of fascinating because that's a lot of money. We'll see what will happen. It is on track to possibly do something like $1 billion. Once we get it to the international arena, it should be, it looks like it should work pretty well internationally. So we'll have to wait to see those results. There's no controversies so far, so we'll have to see. Now this TV series is really getting a lot of buzz. Shogun, everybody's just raving about how good it is. Shogun is currently the best reviewed TV series within the past several months, with 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's pretty amazing. And Hiroyuki Sanada had certain conditions before signing on to Shogun to ensure Japanese culture was accurately depicted. He said, I need things including if you don't hire Japanese actors for a Japanese role, I cannot be involved in the project. And I think we're at the stage right now where I think a lot of people want to be or see authentic representation. I know this is really strange, but authentic representation is the thing that a lot of people want to see now. They want to see if you're going to show us someone from Japan, we want to see Japanese people, and so that makes the film feel more authentic. Even though this is, these are is just an entertainment piece, we want to know that that feel that realism. So I think this is very important. I love that, and I think the audience is loving it too. Now, Deadline reports that it's official. The U.S. government has decreed that there's only one person who can legally use The Rock in commerce, and that's Dwayne Johnson. Very nice. I thought for sure he had that settled a long time ago, but I guess we needed the confirmation. And Keith E says, "I'm back in here." Well, good to see you back. And yeah, that's pretty cool. And Furiosa reportedly had overwhelmingly positive test screenings. So that's actually really positive. If we can get like a string of amazing movies this year, like let 2024 be our 1984. Like that would be amazing. Can we get that? Can we get that? Where we have all of these like amazing films and we can celebrate them. That would be wonderful. And Tim Blake Nelson will have a more comic accurate look as the leader in Captain American form. And I did not know about this character. And they say, I think people are going to be pretty excited about this guy, by what this guy looks like and his and what he has to say and what he does. Yeah. Let me know, guys, if you know anything about this character in the MCU or Marvel lore, if you will. And speaking of Marvel, we've got the X-Men 1997, which will have a 2-episode premiere on Disney Plus on March 20th. So a lot of people are going to be looking out for that. That is like very highly anticipated. And speaking of Disney, Bob Iger says that Deadpool and Wolverine will be one of the most successful Marvel Studio movies they've had in a very long time, and that's cool. I don't exactly believe it when any studio heads say that a movie is amazing or any celebrity, actually. I like to leave it up to the critics first. And I don't exactly say that the critics always get it right, but at least you'll get an idea for what is really happening in the film by the critics. There have been many times when I've listened to critics and they say, "Oh, this movie's horrible because X, Y, and Z, and such and such," and I'm like, "Oh my God, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I want to experience that." So I like. I think once it gets out, or early responses to the movie would be best to wait for. I'm not sure that Bob Iger will have control over that or is the best person to ask about that. But it's nice to see that he's confident about it because Disney MCU really needs a turnaround. And Denis Villeneuve says that it's unlikely that he'll ever do a film in somebody else's cinematic universe again after Blade Runner 2047. So I mean, that movie is just absolutely, um, I haven't seen it yet. I will be seeing it soon, but the visuals for this movie is absolutely incredible. It really is, and I think he has a certain taste that is is just beautiful to see. So I think I'm like wondering why, if he's just wants to have more fun or more independence to do his own thing at this point in his career. And Hayden Christensen says that it was his idea to give Anakin Sith eyes through, although George Lucas was initially against it. I did not know this. This is something that emerged this week. He says, a few days later, he came back to me and said he thought about it and now liked the idea of Sith eyes. Very cool. That's one of the coolest parts of the, uh, you know, the movie that I liked. The what is it called? Oh, The Revenge of the Jedi? Which one is that one? The last, prequel movie, and, yeah, it was I did love that, so I'm glad they added it. Oh, William Blake Hall says Shogun is loosely based on history. In 1600, an English sailor named Will Adams washed up in Japan and became involved in the Tokugawa shogunate. Cool. And Moonbeam is here. Hello, Moonbeam. Says Dwayne will always be the Rock. It is his YouTube channel. The leader was in the 90s Incredible Hulk cartoon. He was voiced by Matt Fuhrer. He's a Hulk villain. And I used to take a shower. Okay, I need to take a shower and get ready for my day. So, ciao for now. Well, you have a good one. And comes in with a little information. Yes, Revenge of the Sith. Yes, that is it. Revenge of the Sith. And yeah, that was a great idea on his part. Lots of see, I love collaborations because they really come up with pretty good, cool concepts. And oh, guys, remember I was supposed to review this one, The Brother's Son. Well, unfortunately, it was axed by Netflix, so they're not going to be doing a season two. So once it's over, it's done. And Michelle Yeoh says she's heartbroken after learning The Brother's Son was canceled at Netflix, finding it so hard to understand why. And I think it might be a couple of things. Like it was a cool idea, but it was very, very graphic. And I think a lot of people are looking for more wholesome stuff right now. I think we're getting like a shift in audiences. And also, I'm not sure if also people could be concerned that uh, I don't know. I think there was a couple of things involved with that. 'Cause I was just about to review it, and I was like, "No, I'm not going to review it," because I kind of wanted to see, and I heard really great things about this. So, according to everyone who watched it that I know, they said that it was really good and worth the watch. So, um, that's a shame. I think it should have been given another chance. But, this is Netflix. Netflix is not playing around. If you don't make the numbers, they don't give you another chance. It really, so, uh, that's pretty, um, much the way it works at Netflix. So anytime you see, like, actors, directors that are making content on their platform, it's because they are successful and they do make the numbers. So, just wanted to bring that up. Mark Wahlberg says that he wants to focus on doing movies the whole family can see. So we should get some wholesome movies in the future from Mark Wahlberg. Now, here's something. Um, I think I have this in a different one. Here's something. Eric Bozza says that he went to almost all of the test screenings for Coyote Acme and people loved it. And that's really disappointing because, um, you know, it's not fair. It's not fair. It just is like really terrible that this movie got treated the way it did, and we don't know what cult classic movie we just missed out on, and now it's no one will ever see it again. It's just horrible. Um, and another thing, there's been a lot of rumors. I know last week, I think I might have even reported this last week, that Booster Gold for the cinematic franchise that's happening with the DC or the DCU with James Gunn announced, or it was announced through the grapevine that the part had been cast. And right now it's under wraps because nobody can find out who exactly was cast. Now there was a rumor going around that Chris Pratt was the person who was cast for the part. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that James Gunn is hiring younger actors, and he's also hiring actors that are low budget, if you will, or that he can afford. So for his movie, so he's not. I think to hire Chris Pratt would be a higher amount, be paying him a lot of money to make his appearance, and also he would. He's probably too old for the character, because I think they're skewing a lot younger for the franchise. Now, a lot of people thought that Glenn Powell, who's really gotten a lot more notoriety after Maverick Top Gun, and also he's been getting some notoriety for the romantic comedy he's in right now, Anyone But You, and so that seemed like a natural fit, but and it, I believe that the rumors are not true, and so there's somebody secretly other than these two actors that have been hired, according to the grapevine of Rumorville. This is definitely Rumorville. We're in Rumorville, guys. But this is not rumor. Wendell Pierce has been cast as Perry White in James Gunn's Superman. So we'll see if he can do that. And by the way, I'm not sure if I have a piece on that, but James Gunn did last week change the name from Superman Legacy to just Superman. Now, and there was also this circulated as well, a glimpse of what people had said might have been the suit for Superman, and this is a false picture. And Boss Logic actually posted this. It says the people that got fooled by this image. That's not so far future world of AI images is going to be cruel to you. Yeah, so it looks like somebody created this with AI, and it doesn't look like it doesn't look like a fake. It actually looks pretty realistic, but it is definitely not there. I think even with Photoshop, you can achieve something like this. However, there was a big uproar of people saying that they hated this look, and because Superman's cape is too long and his undies are too too much undies. So who knows what is going to be done. Until we see it, we don't know it. And yes, and this is the big news yet last week was at least the after my last conversation with you guys was that Superman Legacy is now just Superman. And we have some news here from a friend of the channel, Sil Abdul, who reported that John Gunn seems to confirm he'll be playing more of the JLI version of Maxwell Lord, as James Gunn seemed to hint towards in previous announcement posts. So this is really cool. Because I when I look at some of the things, the comics to do with Maxwell Lord, and I look at Sean Gunn, and I'm like, this doesn't really look like it could even be close because he's kind of like a beefy, like action dude. And, like he looks like he could go get into action any moment. Um, but we'll see what kind of character he ends up playing, and his take on Maxwell Lord. This I thought was very interesting. Dakota Johnson says she'll never do a film like Madam Web again. So it seems like she's aware of all of the comments that people have been making about the movie and is very self-aware of her part in this whole thing. She says it was definitely an experience. I probably will never do anything like it again because I don't make sense in that world. And she's probably very correct about this. Um, it is, I think what I'd love to see her do is like a romantic comedy or something where she's having a little bit more fun, where she's playing into her quirkiness a little bit more. So I think that is very, very important. And she actually went and got a completely new management team for herself. So she did the right thing. She's like, yeah, we're not making mistakes like this again. And it's quite sad to see when somebody takes a role they believe is going to be one thing and it turns out to be another. Really, because it's their career that's being gambled upon, and some people don't forgive actors and actresses for being in movies that aren't successful. So yeah. And Iman Vellani has been assured that she will return to the MCU, but doesn't know when. She said that they give me breadcrumbs and I try to make a meal out of it. She's so cute. I like her so much. And Grumpy is here. Hello, Grumpy. Says, hello, hola, hail, retro, William Blake Hall, Keith. Oh, it's just saying hello to everybody. Oh, so cool, cool, cool. And Grumpy says, retro James Gunn casting was doing well until he decided to race bend. So annoying. At least his Superman seems to have trunks, but it seems to need a much longer cape. We will see. Yeah, I'm not sure which character did he race bend. Um, I Oh, you mean, that one character that he, uh, yeah, I don't think it's gonna really matter in the movie, to be very honest, because it will be centered around Lois and Clark and Lex Luthor. I think those are gonna be the 3 main people, and, unfortunately, the one guy that they did race bend, he's going to be a comedic, relief, so and Grumpy says that, and I think it's not so bad. It's he's not like even like a main character, and I don't think it should matter in this particular case. Sometimes it does, but I don't think it won't even. Um, oh, oh, you mean Perry White? Oh yeah, I think because it was done before, and so they just I think they're just sticking with it because it's they did it in the comics. Um, and like I said, I don't think it's even gonna matter because they're gonna spend way more time on on the other characters. And let's see what else. What else? Um, Says Dakota went through the wrong people at the wrong time as far as superheroes. Sony doesn't know what they're doing anymore than the Marvel does. Dakota and the other girls and careers were wasted. Yeah, that's really sad. It really, really is sad because it's people's lives. That means the rest of their life they're going to be considered bad actresses and have to do you know independent films, which is not the worst thing ever, but um, usually there's a lot of films that are like, okay, we're gonna take your name because you're famous and surround you with all of these weak actors, and boom, there you go. And so it doesn't always. It usually always hurts the person with the better clout. And Grubby says, I made it. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yes, that was the night crew last night watching uh, uh, the awesome um, recording I did with Mama Bear Art Doll. It was so much fun to go over those episodes of Gargoyles. And Ruby says, Iman Vellani is cool people. I like her. She's being wasted in this iteration of Disney. Absolutely. Yes. Sad face. Yes. That's how I feel about it. She's really cute and adorable and loves the stuff, always speaks well, represents herself very well, and she's never disrespectful to the fans. And it seems to be a fan herself. And so, and shares a lot of the frustrations we have. So yeah, I hope she comes through this. I really do. And Charles says, is saying, is agreeing, is agreeing. And Grumpy says, yeah, Perry White isn't supposed to be comedy. Zack Snyder did it in Man of Steel with Lawrence Fishburne. Then they did it in the comics, but Perry White is a white guy. LOL. So is Otis. Yeah. Well, I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's gonna really matter. Um, and I was afraid I would make it since we were hung out so late. Yes, we did, right? We hung out way too late. And Grumpy says Iman wasn't even an actress and has more comic book knowledge than most actors. She was discovered as a fan. What? I didn't know that. I did not know that. That's wonderful. I'm so glad. See, I really hope that they start looking at fans to do more of the things, like actually write stuff, actually be a part of the creation. They'll find that their material might grow and actually like resonate with people. But yeah, it's just really crazy. And Bob Iger also dismisses Marvel fatigue, saying audiences just want good films, but if you build it good, they'll come. And I'm like, where was all this energy last year and the year before that? And then he says, Oppenheimer is a perfect example of that. Just a fantastic film. But what Bob Iger doesn't realize is that Disney is unable to create a movie like Oppenheimer because that means you have to trust the director to actually be a creator and take charge and edit and be in charge of the final edit and actually care for the film. And it's not part of a franchise, meaning you don't have to conform to story ideas and to other people's continuity, which is very difficult. a lot of creatives don't want to do that either. They don't want to conform to other people's lore. And I think it's actually kind of fascinating if you could take a piece of lore and build upon that in a positive way instead of dismantle it. But I digress from that conversation. This is a movie. Oppenheimer is a movie that Disney cannot recreate right now. It does not have the ability to do that because it requires a certain amount of letting go. Okay. Just does not have the ability right now. And this is comparing apples to oranges as far as the way Oppenheimer was created. But I'm hoping that they actually take a look at, like, okay, yeah, there is a movie, Godzilla Minus One, Oppenheimer. These are Barbie, even Barbie. These are movies that just broke the mold, and they weren't formalized. They weren't formalized to death. And I think that's the problem with Disney. Everything has to have a formula, and they're unaware of what their formula really is and why people have a resonancy to some of the movies that they've had in the past. Like the big one that changed the game for everybody was The Little Mermaid. And they just don't know how to recapture that magic again. And Grumpy Olden it says, it's okay since we're all having fun, a fun time, Regina Girl. Now let me stop interrupting your news. I'll be right there. Oh no, yeah, I value everyone's opinions, and yeah, it's I have a lot to say about Superman Legacy that I'm not saying, or Superman. I still call it Legacy because that's super. It's not Superman in my eyes. 1978 movie is Superman. Um, just am I being an elitist? Probably, but that's my Superman. So the new Superman is. I'm really not a big fan of it at this point. I'm sure if I see it, James Gunn will make an entertaining movie to to a degree that will be satisfactory. But it it's it's got a flavor that I've really never enjoyed about like Smallville and CW shows. That kind of flavor. And it's carrying over to the movies now. So I'm not sure if I enjoy that. I do like a more cinematic flavor for movies, in my opinion. Charles says Bob Iger can make a good Star Wars films if he would stick to with content. Yeah, maybe. I think the biggest problem with Star Wars right now is Kathleen Kennedy. Um, and I usually, I mean, no hate towards her or anything like that. I know that some people very much dislikes her, but I like her very much and respect her history as a creator or as a producer. But her handling of Star Wars at this point is really uh, not a match with the fans that want material, and could really make all of this a huge hit if they would just really serve the fans like they should. And Grumpy said there isn't Marvel fatigue. I don't think so either. There's just terrible movie pushing and the message fatigue. Well, Bob Iger is a Claude. I'm going to read that part, but he's not at all creative. I wonder if he gave up on running for president yet. I hope that he's not going to run for president. It would not get very far. But he, um, I think one of the biggest issues um, for me with the Marvel content is the blatant um, disregard for fans. I don't know about like the message and all. I like movies with messages. I don't mind the message. Um, but I mind bad stories. I mind the lack of continuity in a lot of these projects. I I mind when characters um, aren't really characters, but they're just figments. You know, like Ahsoka in particular. In my situation, I wanted to really love this character, and I wanted more from the character. And I saw glimpses of areas where I was like, "Oh, now we're getting to the juicy part about this character." Just left me flat in a big way, and I think the writing is a big issue, but they can't write if there's so many mandates about characters and who they're supposed to be. So, uh, yeah, there's a lot of internal problems, I think, in that, and I do believe that they are using AI to write a lot of the material as well, because some like Secret Wars, that was just incomprehensible how you would end up with that series. That series makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, and it was a really big waste of time. Uh, it started out decent. It just ended um, in a strange way that makes it was all I can say is got to be written by AI because I couldn't understand why it was so terrible. And he can, but he won't. He's more interested in shoving messages down people say. Um, and Grumpy says Oppenheimer succeeded because it came out with a prequel, Godzilla minus one, and both treated with respect. Even Barbie, which I hated, was treated with more respect than anything out of Disney. Uh, and and that name scares me, Retro. Superman is Christopher Reeve. Yes. Well, my Superman were Christopher Reeve and George Reeves. I like Henry, but he was mishandled under Snyder. Tyler CW is decent. I like him. Well, I actually love the Snyder movies. Um, that's I really do. I love the Snyder movies. But I think what is definitely misunderstood about those movies is that Superman never got a chance to actually be Superman. He was Man of Steel. So he was first the Man of Steel, going to become Superman. That's why at the end of Justice League, you have Superman opening up his chest because now he's finally Superman. But we don't get to see Superman because the arc was incomplete and Warner Brothers got cold feet and they freaked out. They freaked out because they saw what Marvel was doing. They wanted to copy Marvel, and it was led them down a um, very bad thing. Oh, and the nostalgic pod blast is here. It says hi, retro nerd girl, and everyone in the chat. Hello. And Charles says, "Well, everybody, I got to step away. Love you all. Oh, well, you have a great day. I hope you enjoy." Um, and um, all right. Well, I'm gonna start continuing with this. Because let's see, I have a lot more stories to get through, so I'm just gonna um, where is it? Okay, there we go. All right, so let me get to some of these here. Um, here's some great news, guys. We love physical media and we're trying to build up our physical media collection. And so we've got some physical media releases, guys. This is awesome. Moonlight and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier are getting 4K UHD physical releases on April 30th. And Andor and Obi-Wan Kenobi are getting 4K UHD physical releases on April 30th as well. This is amazing news because we've been talking about how Disney has not been really doing a lot with their physical releases. And finally, we have some, and I think we got word that a lot of this is going to be handled through Sony now. So they have a little deal going on with Sony that, yeah, this is fantastic news for people like, that are trying to build up their physical media. Now, new projects that are happening. This is a new poster for the Fallout series that's coming out, and I don't know exactly. I hadn't really heard of this, so I'm really kind of interested right now. I know it was a game that was really popular, and I'm not sure. I've never played it or anything, but I've heard of it, and I've also seen like physical like props and things from the game. And so I'm really curious about this. It's going to be premiering April 12th on Prime Video. So going to be looking out for that. That looks like fun. We've got a poster for looks like a rom-com. And um, it's The Idea of You starring Anne Hathaway and Nicholas Galiziantine. Never heard of this guy before, but it looks interesting. And let me see if I can read the byline. It says, "When the last thing you expect becomes the only thing you want." Oh, how cute. Now, this is something that I really am looking forward to. Boy Kills World. And last week, the trailer came out, and I was like, what is this? It's really good. And I hope you guys all got a chance to see this trailer. Kind of looks like a cross between I don't know. I don't know what it is. Kung Fury and maybe some other kind of movie. It's got like a kitschy kind of schlocky feel to it, but it's also gritty, and I'm really looking forward to this. It's going to be in theaters on April 26th. And then oh, guys, hold on one second. I am getting a fierce attack by the allergy monster. So give me a second. All right. And let's see, let me catch up with you guys. Let's see. And Nostalgic Podcast says previously Disney had announced that none of their streaming Marvel products on yeah. They said that they weren't, but something must have happened. Maybe they've been watching videos of people saying, "Hey, physical media, we want it back." And Best Buy, I believe, is one of those places when they got rid of their physical media, and then nobody, they're possibly like going out of business. It's entirely. So, yeah, at least people were like, okay, we'll go to Best Buy for their deals. And Grumpy says, looks really good, but people running it aren't good at running shows. I still hope Fallout will be good. Yeah, yeah. I mean, who knows? I mean, look, Amazon Prime has a hit and miss. They do have, like The Boys are doing really great. It's like a huge deal. And they have a couple other, but The Boys is like the big star. So they're a hit and miss. And Nostalgic Podcast says the cancellations of Disney Plus must have caused them to change course, possibly. Money is a good motivator. And Grumpy says, hey, have you tried the FX series Shogun? It's a remake and that is sticking far closer to the books and very reminiscent of Game of Thrones when Game of Thrones was good. No, I haven't because I don't have that particular streaming platform. And yeah, I don't, but I would like to see it. It looks really good. I've been hearing some fantastic things about it. It's just blowing up. Everyone's like everyone's just saying how much it's so good. And any thoughts on the Fall Guy movie out this May from the Nostalgic Podcast? And none so far. What Jake Gyllenhaal is starring in it, and he's pretty good in pretty much anything. But I am so tired of the remakes. I really am. And well, this one isn't. No, this isn't a remake. Well, this is an adaptation, right? We've never really had a movie. Fall Guy. If I think it's a movie, not a series. Maybe I'll see. It's not really grabbing me. It's not really my shtick, but we'll see if it's good. Like I said, Jake is good in everything. So, and I believe Jake is also executive producing it too. So he'll at least try to make sure that it's good. And Groovy says, I kind of want to see this Bill Skarsgård flick. I saw the trailer and it looked interesting. Reminded me of Silent Night a bit. Oh, really? Yeah. It's filmed in that same way. I forgot oh, what millimeter it is, but it's just like one of those. It just has that like flashy kind of feel to it. But if you've seen Kung Fury, kind of reminds me of that without the jokes. Without the jokes, it looks like it's more serious, a little bit more gritty. And Grumpy says, take your time and get some water, Retrunner. Yes, I did get a sip of water. Managed to squeeze it in. And Nostalgic Podcast, you like the video? And Grumpy says, I can only hope that they're actually changing course. The Fall Guy looks like it'll be entertaining at least. We'll see. Yeah, it's one of those I can't tell. I really can't tell, but Jake looks great in it. And Grumpy says it was a nice little intermission video you played there. Thank you. Yeah, I love that video. I like making little videos like that when I get a chance, but I haven't been able to get a chance lately. I've been so busy. And Nostalgic Podcast says the Fall Guy director was once a real stuntman. Ooh, really? I like this movie Bullet Train, so we'll see. I didn't know that. Nostalgic. Okay. Now I'm interested. Yeah, definitely interested now. And Grumpy says that's right. I forgot that's why he was drawn to making it, and Bullet Train was fun. Okay. And He says, as your fans have increasing prices and everything are going to analyze movies, meals out of vacations are more closely available to chase expensive things. I see what you're saying. It took me a minute there. Sorry about that. I was like, I see what you're saying, Keithy. If you, Groovy says, if you have a regular streaming like Hulu or one of those, they carry FX channels network. You probably have it. Think you might. Okay, I'm gonna look for it. I'll look for it. I think I have Hulu. I'll look for it. It's just been time. Okay, I just feel like I need. I'm gonna have to take that 2 week break sooner than later because I really feel the pressure of time on my neck. It's breathing on my neck, guys. Okay. So, Nostalgic corrects me. The star of Fall Guy is Ryan Gosling. Okay. Who's also very good in everything. I get those two mixed up. Sorry. Ryan and Jake. Do get them mixed up. And Nostalgic says, I think you may be talking about Jake, who's starring in Roadhouse. Yes, Roadhouse. Yes. You guys are so great. Thank you for correcting me. Yes, I meant Ryan. Thought that Jake maybe, yeah, because they do remind me of each other, uh, and they have a lot of the same. Something very similar about the two. There's something very similar. But also, I'm not sure I'm ready to see Ryan in something serious again because I loved him so much in Barbie as Ken and being a little silly and being a little um, fun, which in most of his films he's very serious. So yeah, it was like that's one of the things I liked about him in Barbie was we got to see that side of him, playful side of him, and so it'll be hard to go back to the serious Ryan Gosling. I guess I'll warm up. I'll warm up by seeing Blade Runner 2049, I believe. Yeah. If I see that before I see him in the other one, I'll be like, okay, the fall time. Yeah. So yeah, I'm actually, since you told me that, I am very much interested to see it. And Grumpy says, uh, it won't be serious. A Fall Guy won't be serious. Okay. All right. Okay. Really good. And Thomas is here. Oh my God, it's so great to see you. You guys, you're making me so happy today. Making me so happy. So good to see you. And all right, more stories, guys. More stories. I don't know how many stories I have here, but there's a lot. Let's see. Move over, space sad space dad in Constellation. Mooney Rapace, Space Mom, is here to challenge assumptions about the galactic void as a place for self-discovery. That's coming at some point. I don't have a date for that, but a nice space story. We all love a good sci-fi space story. And this is really interesting. Hollywood Handle reports that a female-led White Tiger show is in the works at Marvel Studios. And I thought they were going to pair back on some of their shows, according to Bob Iger. So I definitely hope this doesn't happen. Not because I don't like the character. I don't know of the character. But what I'm hoping is that the MCU will do one thing, is really hone in on the ideas that are going to be developing their universe into one solid story. Because right now we have all of these little stories of all of these other characters, and nothing's really pulled together to something like a great big um, event movie, um, or a series of event movies, which I thought was done brilliantly with the Avengers, and then we got to um, the big Thanos showdown at the last two movies. I thought they did a nice build up, so by pulling all of the characters together and then creating this really huge event. And so that's what's missing from Marvel right now, is the feeling that something, all of these little stories that are separated are going to come together. So that is where I think that they should be devoting all of their time and energy, and leave these smaller characters for something to do in the very, very far future. And Spider-Man Villains animated movie is reportedly in development, and this would, I believe, would be with Sony. I think, um, if I'm not mistaken. And so, if there is one, I think that would be really a brilliant idea. Uh, Maybe this would be the way for them to do this, instead of the big movies that they're doing, to do more animated projects. Sort of like how DC has done with their past projects. A lot of some of the best DC projects have been animated. So, uh, yeah, I think this is a great move for Sony. Also, Venom 3 is on its final stages of filming, guys, says Juno Temple. It's been so lucky in my career to just have the most incredible cast. I can't wait for it to get out into the world. I think it's going to be a good one. So I hope so too, because Sony really needs a big win with their Spider-Man universe stuff. After um, Madam Web and Morbius, they need a huge blowout. So I hope this time they're able to do this with Venom 3. And they're very lucky to have a Venom 3 in the first place. Like, just put that on the table. But then we're also expecting Craven to come out soon, or at some point in the near future. And Craven is one in which I think no one was really excited about that trailer. And I think also too, based on the fact that we still haven't gotten the movie, it was released too early. And so um, hopefully Craven will also be good. It really needs some wins, if some big fat W's. Uh, and before we go on to the next story, let's see if you guys had any comments. And Thomas says, it's awesome to come hang out. Oh, awesome. Yeah, it's so good to see you. And let's see. Thomas has been watching this Talkville podcast about Smallville. Oh, yes, 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 yes. With Michael and Tom Welling. It's been great. Oh, yeah, they do a lot of really cool interviews and going through, I think they were going through the episodes. And Michael also has his own podcast that's really good. He's pretty much interviewed almost all of the cast and just any like people in the his friendship circle, and so that's been really entertaining. I'm not like a super fan of the Smallville shows. Just wasn't ever my thing. There were a couple things that I did enjoy about that show, and also there were a couple episodes that I were able to even see. But it is, I don't know. I actually like Michael a lot, so it was really great to see him do all of these cool things. And definitely that podcast is actually a wonderful idea. There's been a lot of celebrities or a lot of actors and actresses that have been acting around the time period of um, the late 90s, the early aughts that are putting together their own little podcasts to kind of, talk to the fans and talk about their experiences is really good. Um, and just great stuff. Just great stuff. I'm loving those kinds of podcasts. Grumpy says, uh, but let's see. And it's I'm not understanding. So it was also Silk, but those shows are on ice after Madam Web's demise. They need to start with her uncle, the original White Tiger, and then do his niece. It's not difficult. Oh yes, okay. So you're saying they're out of order, and that sounds about right. Um, because if they're going to do, let's go back a little. Um, this one says that it's Marvel Studios, so that's where I was like, is this with this can't be with Sony because they have to define if it's with Sony or if it's with Disney. So if yeah, if you're what you're saying is that they are out of sequence, that would be a problem. That would be a huge, 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 huge problem. And I like Michael's podcast. He convinced Tom to come out of hiding. Yes, he did. And I'm just gonna um so well I could do this one. Um Sony is doing everything they can to keep the Spider-Man license and producing terrible movies all the while. The only one that worked was No Way Home, which Sony only distributed. Um, yeah, yeah, it's really sad because it's not. I don't think it's that hard, is it? I mean, I know making movies is a difficult art form, but the stuff that they're kind of making mistakes on is just sort of it kind of you want to scratch your head and like what? How could you mess up Morbius? And also, why are we doing a movie on Morbius? Is he a good guy or is he a bad guy? Why are we spending um like it would have been cool if Morbius and Venom there was something to do with Venom and Morbius, right? Because we already know Venom, you know, put them together. Um that's the other thing that's really kind of weird. So I don't know. I don't understand their strategy in general. And why did they do Madam Web? Like, well, was she supposed to be, or these girls were they supposed to be the next wave of spider people that was gonna have their own shows and things like that? It would have been nice to like work on one character at a time, and I think they were doing like a easy, fast route by having Madam Web kind of introduce all three of the girls all at once instead of going one by one and creating heroes out of those three. Nobody has time to develop stories anymore. Just saying. Thomas says both are amazing and so many great guests. For his shows, really great. And the questions that he asks them, I think Michael Rosenbaum has gone through a lot in his life, and so he has a very unique way of connecting with the people that he's interviewing. and it gets to like a deep spiral of like opening up about personal stuff, which I love. Like when he did was it Simu Lee or somebody he was interviewing, and the internet went wild. They were like, oh, he's uh, I think it was Simu Lee, and he just has a way of asking questions where people really like give exciting and interesting, deep question answers in response. And Grumpy says Sony can write these villains, but they don't know um, what to do with the actual Spider-Man. I'll be frank. I hate Venom the Venom flicks. Venom is nowhere to be found in them. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised that the first Venom just barely made it for me. It was like, I was like, okay, I like this movie. It's got moxie, and it was interesting. It flies off the rails at the end, but I was like, you know what, I could no problem. It was funny, it was cute, and it had like a bit of charm, but I would never dream that they would have made a second one, and now we're on a third one. So, yeah, that's pretty surprising to me. And Ruby says Sony needs a serious win, but it's only that they need to get them. And um, uh, let's see. I'm just gonna keep going. Oh my gosh, I'm way behind on the comments. I'm just gonna zoom down because I still have a lot more stories to go through. Um, and Thomas says, same here. The DCEU was my favorite. And Thomas says Tom Welling did the show Lucifer, which I love. Oh wow, I did not know that. And Grumpy says, it's not that hard considering all the storyboards and scripts that were essentially made before all of these people were born. I can imagine. Morbius is a movie that would have worked if they already have Blade in the MCU to hunt him, and Morbius becomes a good guy and helps Blade hunt vampires. Ooh, I love it. But we're talking about two different places now. We're talking about Sony Marvel, and then we're talking about Disney Marvel, and the two just it's like oil and water at this point. And your idea is very exciting and fun, and unfortunately, they haven't figured it out. They haven't figured out Blade is definitely a character that because of this whole rights thing, they couldn't do it. But you nailed it like right there. That would be perfect. And Ruby says yes, Sony is trying to make it so that women were spider people before Peter Parker, and they ignore the canon for a modern audience they claim is wanting it, but doesn't seem to actually exist. And that's true. No women were excited to go see that movie because it wasn't catered. Um, it wasn't exactly catered to women. What it was that it was a um, it was a superhero movie. Now, can we even say that it's a superhero origin movie? Um, that just had women in it, which is they think it's all they need to bring in a female audience. And I think as a woman, I'm really insulted that you would even try to get me into the audience, to be part of the audience for that. You need more. You need more things to attract women audiences. It's not that simple. And even if you started off with a good story, that would help. That would help. Now, look, I do think the nuance of there's some nuances in the script which I saw when the story was described. There's some really cool instances and nuances. But again, that's not enough to walk me through the door. And for weeks, we were looking at that poster for Madam Web, and it was not intriguing. It was not intriguing. The uh, the trailer, which I saw, and people said was completely pumped up to look like the actresses were going to play more of a feature role as superheroes or in their costumes, did not actually exist in the movie. And so the trailer were the highlights of what was going to happen in the movie, and it only was like a few moments. Like that kind of bait and switch is the kind of stuff that I think every audience member hates, right? We hate that. We hate that. If Madam Web was written in a way in which you actually did get superheroes, and they're, let's say they're, it's all those ladies, that would work. That would work a lot better than what was done, which was um, set up this sort of uh, Eyes of Laura Mars kind of setup, which is Eyes of Laura Mars is a great movie, but they were kind of playing with the concept of like they were being able to see a little bit into the future and maybe change some of it. It's an intriguing concept, just in the context of her being a superhero. Uh, it is we're looking for superheroes, and what we got was a thriller. A thriller. That's basically what you got. And it's it wasn't even like a thriller where there was any like that was like graphic and exciting and it's more like a chase movie uh, instead of that kind of uh, impressive like even like a nice sexy thriller would have been a lot better. It should have done that. Should have done that. I would have watched that if Madam Web was a sexy thriller. Oh heck yeah! I mean, you would get the girls in the theater finally. Finally, you got to speak to the audience that you're trying to attract. They don't know what the audience is. They're just guessing. They're like, oh, we are going to appeal to women so let's just throw some women into this thing. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. We need characters that appeal to our sensibility, right? And Grumpy says, I have the entire Venom Lethal Protector comics. What? The first Venom was based on. They screwed up his origin. Venom exists only because Eddie Brock and the symbiote both hate Spider-Man, and Peter. Yeah, yes, they did switch up the thing, which I think I didn't mind since they didn't have Spider-Man. And so the whole argument for all of these movies is they don't have Spider-Man. They can't use him for whatever reasons. And I think the contract must be up for Peter Parker in the MCU, so they can use Spider-Man. And there was talk, and even the actors were like, "Oh yeah, we'll be down for a Spider-Man movie." And it looks like they dropped the ball on that momentum. Should have been like, yes, we're doing an Andrew Garfield, final goodbye Spider-Man movie right now. They should have really jumped on it. They did not. So they lost the momentum uh, of it, and yeah, it's gone forever. Yeah, and I think that's the ultimate issue is that the rights are just and are just split in too many pieces. You can't figure out what's going on. Sony can't use the character that they licensed out. They licensed it out, and so and they will never give up that license. I'm gonna tell you that they're not gonna sell it. They're not gonna sell that thing. Um, and Romy says technically it's an origin movie of a hero that doesn't need one. Madam Web is never seen as a young woman. She starts off in her cool chair already, old and wise. Um, I like her, and Agatha Harkness, who is an old great, but Marvel, Sony ruined them both, even having chosen very good actresses to play them. And it was a good concept, but the execution was poor. Horrible, yeah. And Madam Web was awesome in the 90s cartoon, however. Yeah, I saw that. And the cartoon and the first two Spider-Man films done by Sony were really great. And Amy Pascal wasn't in charge then. And yep, Sony will have to be closed down in America to put Spidey license back at Marvel. Yeah. Yeah, and they were doing a great job with him, to me, in my opinion. And they realize that they need to hold on to them. I wouldn't either. I wouldn't give it up either. But don't give up Spider-Man for the MCU and then like struggle, you know, to try to connect with that universe, because a lot of actors don't even know that they're not even being in their thing. Well, let's move on because I still have some more stories. There's still a lot more stories. Okay, yes. Five Nights at Freddy's. Blumhouse reportedly listened to the film's criticism, and Five Nights at Freddy's 2 will focus more on horror. So they're coming back. And Matthew Lillard is reportedly set to return as William Afton in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Yeah, people really like him in that role. And Greta Gerwig's Chronicles of Narnia adaptation for Netflix will reportedly be bigger and bolder than expected. So I can't wait to see what she does with that. Greta Gerwig finished a draft for her Chronicles of Narnia movie before she even started filming Barbie, knowing that she said that knowing that I'd laid the groundwork for Narnia and wanted to return to it, that's probably something I set up for myself psychologically. That's nice to, like, you're working on one project, but know that there's something else in the wings. I think sometimes when you're working on a project, when you're finished with it, you kind of like feel like, oh, they did that thing, and there could be a feeling of feeling lost after you're done, and so it's kind of nice to already have something set up. So yeah, and so Daisy Ridley is going to be in a new movie. First look at Daisy Ridley. There's a trailer out right now. And the name of the movie is called Young Woman and the Sea. And the film follows the first woman to successfully swim the English Channel. So that's good, and best of luck to her. It looks really interesting. Pneumonia director has a sequel spin-off plans. He says that gladly I'll spend more time with these new friends we've made and discover what adventures lie ahead for them beyond the walls of the kingdom. And this is one of the series that I want to catch up on one of these days. It looks really interesting. And I like so far what I'm seeing of the character of Nimona is very spunky and fun. And this is from Small Screen. They kind of do a lot of like scoops and things like that. So I'm not sure if this is true, but we do like to hear good scoops every once in a while. There's Sony is uh, aiming to swing Spider-Man 4 into cinemas by 2025, sparking debates with Marvel on its direction. So I'd like to see what they actually come up with. This is going to be interesting, if that's indeed true. And so we'll have to wait to find out if this plays out um, actually in this fashion. And we have The Old Guard, which I believe The Old Guard got some really great reviews, but it really wasn't well marketed and really wasn't well known. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with a lot of these Netflix movies is that they do very little for marketing, but every once in a while you'll get a nicely marketed piece. The Old Guard is getting a part two, which has finished filming over a year ago, and it's on the final stages of post production. I think a lot of people who enjoyed the first one we're going to be looking forward to this. I can't wait myself personally to take a look at this. And what I might do is I'll probably see the first one, as I did not catch the first one. So that is very intriguing to me. And Charlize Theron looks fantastic there. She's in great physical shape. I do believe over the weekend she was playing tennis with someone. She looks fantastic. So I can't wait to see this. And this is another interesting thing, especially with all the things going on with Warner Brothers and the fact that they just uh, put down, if you will, Acme versus Coyote, or was it Coyote versus Acme, and put it in a vault where no one can ever get to that movie. They are mulling over the idea of an animated Jurassic League movie, which is in the works at DC, which I'm like, what? Why are we devoting more time on another animated project when you have one that you've already shelved that could have been out there? People could have seen this. Also, in the long game of filmmaking, movies that are good get sold in physical media. People need things to show their kids, right? So that would have made a killing. I think that was such a horrible idea um, to shelve that movie, and it really is a slap in the face that they're even thinking about putting together another one of these, another movie, and also a warning to the creators of this Jurassic League. You could be working on this project, and it could be shelved, and that's the other bad part about it. The other bad part about it. And the script for Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, has already been written, and according to insiders, it's great. So we'll see about that. Let's see what you guys are saying. Oh, look. Oh, hey. Horror Wheel Review is here. It says, hey, RNG and Retro Fam. So good to see you. Gummy says Five Nights at Freddy's seems to have stuck to their guns. Well, that's good. And Greta is not someone who respects Christianity. I'm not looking forward to her handling Narnia. Well, I think the now this is the cool thing about Narnia, but I wonder I wonder when it says clearly that she's adapting it, but I don't know what part of it she's adapting, or when there's adaptations, people just change things. Oh, we'll talk about that when I get to my Dune review. But Yeah, I'm not sure if you can if you can take the Christianity out of Narnia because it's so baked in and I would say subtly done in a way that it's like you can't like you can't if you take it apart you dismantle it and it's no longer the thing. It's no longer the thing. So I think she doesn't have a choice in this particular case. I don't think she has a choice. She may not even be aware of it, but she may be aware of it or not. I'm not sure. So this is something that we'll have to take a look at and see what she does with. Um, I would rather her like handle something like an Alice in Wonderland, where you're dealing with um, that seems more her speed, like an Alice in Wonderland. But yeah, I'm looking forward to see what she's done. I've never also I'm not sure how she will do with a fantasy piece because that is a little bit outside her wheelhouse. So yeah, I'm 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 curious, but I'm also mildly concerned. Um, Thomas says time to make some breakfast while watching YouTube. Oh, cool. Oh, yum. And Grumpy says, I hope it goes well. Daisy hasn't been able to break out since all that Kennedy nonsense. Yeah, she deserves better. She's a great kid. Uh, and Grumpy says, I didn't see Namona. It looks interesting. Yeah, it looks interesting to me. I'm really curious about it as well. And her real review says, I'm about to drive, but I love when you talk movie news. Oh, thank you. Oh man. Well, I would love for you to come join me one of these days to share your opinion. But we'll talk about that. If you want to, you can DM me on Twitter if you're on Twitter or X. That was a great way to reach out to me, or even send me an email. That might be a good way too. Grumpy says, if I say if they do a Spidey 4 with Toby Maguire and it's good, it'll make $1 billion. Yeah, I mean, Toby's just. I mean, who doesn't love Toby? Right? I mean, that would be an age for Peter that we had never really experienced. At least I haven't, because he's always been a teenager in my kind of head canon, I suppose. And he's in college and in one uh, in iterations, but not really seeing him like as a grown man. Like is he married? Does he have kids? What is it? What does he feel about being Spider-Man now that he's middle-aged? I would love to see some kind of like a great character study with, and also add in the fantastic with characters and villains and all sorts of stuff. This would be a great opportunity for them to bring out like a collection of a whole bunch of different villains and sort of like introduce them to the world. That would be fantastic. Fantastic. And the Grumpy says the old guard was not advertised at all on Netflix. Yeah, not advertised at all. I think they've learned some of their lessons. I mean, that was a few years back. They've done a lot more for advertisements. They've definitely rose in the aspect of social media and getting out there. But I think, yeah, the old guard suffered from that. And I think, see, here we have like, um, Netflix doing a project. It must have gotten enough numbers for them to even okay for a second time around. And um, I can't wait to see it. I just can't wait. I want to see, and actually want to see the first one. Um, and Bobby says I didn't hate it, but Charlize walks weird in that movie. I can't unsee it. That aside, it was a fun flick. Interesting. And Zaslav is messing up again.
They need to make one good Superman movie to reboot all of this. Yeah, and in my opinion, I think they've already failed. So it's another story. I'm not saying that the movie's going to be bad. I think it's actually going to be really good. Um, and at least it will be enjoyable. Um, but I have um I have a theory, and I'll have to keep it to myself for now because I need to work on it. And Moonbeam is back, and it says it's Coyote versus Acme. Yes. And just breaks my heart what happened to that movie. And Grumpy says shelving another one is stupid. Shelving Batgirl was smart, but we need good uh lonely Looney Tunes out stuff. Yeah, Looney Tunes is a classic. You can't go wrong with Looney Tunes. And so I just can't even understand the logic at all. Even when other streamers were asking for this movie and wanted it, and yeah, just blows my mind. And even with Batgirl, and see, here's the problem with Batgirl. Now, it's not the movie that we wanted. Okay, I will say this right now. But allowing Warner Brothers to get rid of Batgirl without any repercussions, without any uproar, is what is allowing them to continue to do that, because they are like, okay, well, yeah, we got away with it. And sort of like, we got away with murder, so nobody's saying anything. So let's just continue to do that with any product we don't think is incredible. And so uh, it's really unsettling. It's really unsettling. So I don't know what else to say. And her review says, yeah, I'd be really nervous about working with Warner Brothers at this point. Very nervous. Very nervous. I just am concerned that, artists and creative people are putting a lot of their time and their effort into projects, and it's just being iced. And they can't use it for references or anything. It's really like, look, no, um, Batgirl. Like I said, I was not rooting for that movie, but it is a movie no less. And that is 2 years, maybe even more, of somebody's and a lot of people's hard work, labor. Stunt people endangered their lives for this. Okay. Just like what? Uh that we've got like two directors. They have good track records, and they really love this project. We got a performance from Michael Keaton, and we've got a performance from Oscar winner Brandon. What was his last name? Brandon Fraser. It's gone. It's gone. What was his performance like? Was it, it could have been great. We don't know. We have no idea. Now, they did, and I think it was on purpose, all these releases of these pictures of a terrible costume, which I believe that was her first costume. It wasn't going to be the finished costume. And they made sure to make people believe that the movie was going to be crap. But the truth is that the movie wasn't finished. It was almost finished. It needed editing, it needed special effects, and all of the things to make it like be a complete movie. Of course, you're probably, if you have a whole bunch of scenes that don't seem to make sense, it's going to look crappy. But if you're not allowed to even do that, meaning that the studio takes your film away from you, just like they did with David Ayer, they took away his film. If they're able to do that, if they're able to take away a film from you, that's it. So yeah, a lot of people are probably looking at this whole thing and scratching their heads and saying, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't get involved with this company. They don't value art," and that's a problem. And a lot of people don't um, value the artistry that is cinema, whether it's a movie we like or not. It still matters to people. And Ruby says, I hate that comic. Uh, I don't like the writer. He did bad things to DC characters, then got even worse with Supergirl. His name is Tom King, and he's a real problem to fans. I've heard all of this. Yep, I've heard that sentiment by a lot of people. The artwork for this book is actually quite intriguing. I did enjoy that. But yeah, I'm not. I think it's nice that they have a script written, but unfortunately, I don't getting this completed would it would take nothing more than a miracle. Especially since Warner Brothers may be getting purchased. Uh, they may be on the verge of being purchased this year, this very year. At least they'll be available to be purchased. And they still have over $40 billion in debt. And Grumpy says adapting is where the problem lies. They won't let the lion and the allegory for Jesus Christ be he is supposed to be. The C.S. Lewis knew that he was what he was doing, and Greta does not. Well, I can't say that yet because we didn't see it hasn't come out yet. So, and I don't know what the script looks like. So I like to not blame anybody for anything until we actually see it come out. Whether she does, I mean, like on the optics board, just in general, you can't take the lion out of the movie. The lion even just showing up in the movie is the story and is the representation. So I don't think she can remove it. It's just how what she decides to do with it. It was, I think, the other adaptation of. Well, my concern isn't the fact that she'll do that because it's almost impossible for her to do that. If she does, of course the streets are coming for that neck, okay? The streets are coming for that neck, is all I'm saying. So do right and do the right thing. She'll do it. If she doesn't, that's her. I'm like, look, guys, I am not defending that lady. She went off the rails. The plan was right in front of her, and that's all she needed to do. And you can add some creativity to that, but you have to really stick to the main focus of the story. Now, my problem with this is not that, it's just I have never seen her do a fantasy flick. And I don't know how she will handle fantasy. And if she, she does know filmmaking, but she's more of a person that could handle like a story about a girl or a story about like real people and real life settings, even real life / fantasy settings, but like a full out fantasy with unique characters and strange odyssey stuff happening around her. I've never seen her do it, so I'm kind of like, it will be intriguing to see how she does it if she actually pulls it off. If she can pull this off, then she can truly do anything. She would be one of those directors that can truly do anything. And but I don't know if I don't know if she can do it. It's always nice to stick to what you do best. So I'm just worrying that she may love the story of um, of Narnia, but she may not know how to pull it off. I don't know. We have to see. We only have to see. That's my only concern. And William Blake Call says it's been 149 minutes, and I have a nurse to let in, so I'm out. Sorry about that, William. Be well, Grumpy, and everyone. Oh, yes. I hope you're doing well, William Blake Hall. Thank you for hanging out with us as much as you were able to. Um, and she's a Grumpy says she's aware. I'm still hopeful that it'll be good, but not very much. You're right. She should do Through the Looking Glass. Right? That would be the perfect one for her. Like it's a touch of fantasy, but it's also dealing about a girl's coming of age, and I think she would get a lot of gratification from this. Um, Moonbeam says there were 7 Chronicles of Narnia. The Magician's Nephew was the last book, but was a prequel. And Grumpy says, if you want to know why I feel as I do about Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, to get yourself a copy of Tom Kenner's almost anti-superhero. Yes, I've seen it. Yes, I've glanced through it, and I did not buy it. Let's just put it like that. It's got beautiful graphics, though. The illustrations are gorgeous. But I'm not. I don't like my Supergirl like this. And it's not really awesome to me, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. And Moonbeam says C.S. Lewis meant Aslan as a Jewish archetype. Oh, I didn't know that. And Grumpy says he has 2 kids now, and one of them is Mayday Parker from the old Marvel, to who becomes Spider-Girl in the comics. Now, the lawsuit from Ditto's family is settled. And allegory may be too strong of a term, but Greta will do whatever she can do to get rid of it. Yeah, I don't know. Is she not? I think she's a fan of the stories, though. I think she's a fan. I mean, look, I like I said, I don't know. I didn't see anything. And Bonzo's like, no, we want the theory now, right, Retro? Hey, Bonzo. I'm losing my comments here. You guys are writing so much. You guys are great. And Grumpy says, have you heard what James Gunn wants to do to his first Batman outing? He wants to ignore all the Robins and go with Damian Wayne. He is the worst character to be created in DC, all DC. And they never should have made the Batgirl like they were, and it's a problem. They were literally swept under the rug while sparing themselves further brand damage. It didn't work. It did not work. And I think everyone knows that C.S. Lewis was an atheist and converted to Christianity thanks to his close friend, J.R. Tolkien. That is another problem, Retro. All of that was set up for Keaton in The Flash. They removed Keaton from Aquaman and Gal Gadot. Flash made even less sense because of it. Yeah, they messed up those movies. I think if they had just let the directors do their stuff, it would be a better outcome. And Batgirl seems to have been further along than 1994's Fantastic Four. and and at least Batgirl folks got paid. Yeah, they got paid. I mean, I think everybody gets paid on these things. That's the first thing that they do. But I think, as far as the purpose of having and creating a movie, it is so that way it is also a reel of your work. It is a testament of what you can do. Like you can say, oh yeah, I worked on this movie, and like people can't even use it for their reels. So like I said, if you're a stunt person and or if you were a graphic designer, a costume designer, and you're like, hey, I made some costumes for Batgirl, you can't even use that as part of your, yeah. Okay. But the script, but what the script is based on is the problem. For Supergirl, and we'll always have Helen Slater. Yeah, I love that Supergirl movie. I know it's kitschy and it's schlocky and it's silly, but I had so much fun laughing with that movie. And then you have Peter O'Toole just being Peter O'Toole. I'm like, yes, it's Peter O'Toole. And Thomas says the best Flash was done in the DCEU. I honestly and CW Flash for a while. Oh, cool. Yeah, I loved the sequences with Flash and Zack Snyder's Justice League. It gave me like a new respect for the character. I was like, wow. And I did not know this about the Flash, or like finally connected with the character. Grumpy says, I don't have much confidence in her abilities. That's the honest truth. She can get rid of the lion, but she can change what Aslan does and would change the entire story, right? Um, Possibly, yeah, possibly. I don't know. I think at some point we've got to. You can worry about these things, but um, it's not. It's not gonna, like, she's gonna do what she's gonna do. It's sort of like she's gonna do what she's gonna do, and so we'll have to see what she does, and before we can really criticize yet. We have an idea, we have an inkling, we may have our fears, but I think I can't, like, um, I like her. I think she's a real film lover. She loves films. She really does, and so I want to see what she does and with her talents that she has. And Thomas says, made a cinnamon toast. Ooh, 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 sounds really good. And oatmeal with oranges, blueberries. Oh, I love blueberries so much. With honey and brown sugar. Wow, what a breakfast. Oh my goodness. Oh, I love blueberries so much. I was looking for blueberry powder. And I was like, oh, I'm going to put blueberries in everything. Because I wanted to make like a special shake. And let's see. Um, and Grumpy says, I would add the Flash series with Wesley Snipes from the 90s. I love that show. And the CW Flash was still Savitar. They blew it up from there, but I like Nora. Oh, I never heard of that. Let's see. And movie says, Aslan is the crux of Narnia, and Narnia wouldn't exist without Aslan. That's what I'm saying. I can't imagine it any other way. So, I mean, uh, I've seen butchery done, but to that extent, I'm like, you got a lot of nerve if you're gonna take that out. It will, like, the internet will boil her for dinner. It's like there's no way. There's like if that's something like, and I don't think we should get upset until we see it first, and if it's true, then we can unleash whatever we can. But I think prematurely, I think we're spinning our wheels. I agree, Retro Nergo. If she really pulls it off like you're thinking, she will be great. I'll give her a chance. I give her, yeah. I mean, I think you you don't know, um, but there's also a lot of people, and I'm not sure what her religious beliefs are. Um, I actually have no clue, and I don't want to know. But if she's gonna do this, just be very truthful to the original work in the most honest way as possible. Have some respect on it. Put some respect on it is what I'm saying. And that's the problem I find with a lot of people who come in to say write for um, Disney MCU stuff. A lot of them hate the characters they're writing for, and they are looking to change and dismantle. Um, and I feel that way about some of the stuff now with Star Wars too. So it is very important because what I'm getting the sense is I think she's a fan of it. I don't think she's not a fan of it. So, but yeah, my biggest concern is the fantasy aspect. Can she pull off fantasy as well? That will make her a triple threat director, actually. Thomas Bardelli says that 90s Flash was awesome, and CW brought back those actors. I have, I don't know, I have not seen that, so I'll have to see that 90s Flash movie. Oh, no, I'm mixing up Flash with Captain America. Sorry. Yeah, I don't think I saw that movie. I'll have to hunt it down. And Moonbeam says, "I feel you, William. I'll be leaving soon myself." Yes, guys. I didn't mean for it to go on this long. I really did not. There was a lot of stories. I'm so sorry, but thank you for hanging out with me for as long as you have. Really appreciate it. I really do. And Grumpy says, "Oh, the artist of A Woman of Tomorrow is really good, but the story is so awful and uninspired." Yeah, that's why I didn't buy it. That's why I didn't buy it. I looked through and I was like, oh, these are beautiful pictures. And I was trying to get a glimpse of the flavor. And I was like, nah, it's okay. I'll put that one back. And Steve Ditko created Spider-Man. His descendants were suing Marvel for rights, but they recently settled. So now Peter Parker lives and is being shown normally instead of prepped to die. And Thomas says DC rushed everything. Don't be Marvel, just do DC well. Yes, yes. The whole problem was as soon as Man of Steel came out, there was already people were already plotting within DC to dismantle what was going on and change it immediately. And I was just let that play out, would you? And this is the same problem that happened with Superman Returns. That movie should have gotten a second chance, or Brandon Routh should have had a second movie. But it was like, oh, that didn't work. We're just gonna let's get rid of it. It just kind of blows my mind because you can't build a cinematic movie universe without breaking a few eggs, if you will. You've got to have some sacrifices and build it up. Um, and Thomas said DCEU did many full series all connected. Oh, and Grumpy says, yeah, the heart of the series is that Aslan, the lion. it's a good series, but it's yet to be adapted properly. Yeah, and so I don't think she's gonna go word for word adaptation, but I definitely think you can't forget the lion because the lion is the centerpiece of it all, and it's like that's the uh, that's the big part of the story. And oh, Batman Beyond is your favorite? Oh, cool. I've yet to see it. I need to see it. I've heard nothing but fantastic things about it. And Batman Beyond is one of my favorites, says Grumpy, reminiscent of Phantom 2040. I'm just going to zoom down really quick, guys, because I got to finish this all up a little bit. We've been going at it for almost 3 hours, and I still didn't finish my stories. And Grumpy says Nora was Barry and Iris's daughter from the future on the CW Flash show. Wow. Yeah, CW Flash show has such a legacy. And Moonbeam says, just recently saw Fantastic Four 1994. I liked it even though it had a shoestring budget. Joseph Culp as Dr. Doom nailed it. He hated the sound of Doom and wanted to redub. Yes, he should have been able to do that, but you couldn't hear him underneath the mask. It's a great. I like the movie a lot. Grumpy says, "Yes, true. After she messes up, the internet will boil her down to atoms." Yeah. Oh, please. She will not have a good time. She'll be roasted, and I doubt. I really doubt it that she would do something like that. But things you never know. You never know. You never know. She might. She might not. I don't know. I can't vouch for whether she will or not. Won't. And Grumpy says, yes, a lot of people hate the characters we love and are using what they are doing to um, stepping stones to political publications. And Thomas says, 90s Flash was Wally's dad and also did Flash Experience at one point. And Necron says, not movie retro. It was a Flash TV series on CBS. Lasted one season. In the 90s? Oh, I had no idea. You guys are teaching me. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy. Yes, yes. Emma's word for word, Grumpy supports what you're saying. And so good to see you, Necron. So good to see you. And let's see. I'm just trying to zoom down really quickly. Moonbeam says, it was good. Some cast fans would like after post-production. Gotta go enjoy dancing to the outro. Ciao for now. Moonbeam says, great to see you today, and thank you for all your contributions to the show. Moonbeam, you're fantastic. And coming in with some knowledge here and there, giving us the 411. Take care. Have a great day. Really appreciate you. And Grumpy says, well, yeah, retro. I ain't talking, asking for one-to-one, just want the story to be told right. Iron Man 1 is not correct origin for him, but that's my favorite MCU movie because they did it so well. Yes, yes. The movie says Alex Hyde White is also a tiny tuber with fewer subs than me. I have 66 subs and Alex has 49 subs. Okay. All right, guys. I finally caught up. I did cheat a little bit, but I did catch up. I'm gonna run through the last ones, and I'm just gonna go through them, and then I'm gonna close out. Okay, so I just wanted to go through. So, upcoming Game of Thrones spinoff, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, is set to release on Max 2025. Upcoming Dune series, The Sisterhood, is still set to release on Max this year. So they have filmed already, and that's coming out soon. Rebecca Ferguson has been cast alongside Chris Pratt in a new sci-fi thriller called Mercy. And the film follows a detective accused of a violent crime and forced to prove his innocence in a future where capital crime has increased. And I'd love to see these two work together. And Lindsay Lohan confirms Freaky Friday 2 is happening. Okay, I have a problem saying her name, but Olii Cravalho and Dwayne Johnson are both returning for Moana 2. That is good. They're bringing back the OGs. And the upcoming Harry Potter series is aiming to release on Max 2026. A writer's room for Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 2 has been active since January 2023. The series has not been officially renewed yet. Pixar's Elio is initially set to release in theaters next week. The movie will now be releasing June 13th, 2025. So it was supposed to be in theaters next week, and they're postponing it until next year. Very wild. Old Money meets Drug Money. Guy Ritchie's The Gentleman series premieres March 7th. Timothy Chalamet says that he wants Austin Butler's Elvis to appear in his Bob Dylan biopic that he's doing. And he says that I was kind of wishing that he would create a musical cinematic universe. And True Detective has been renewed for season 5 at HBO. Issa Lopez, creator of True Detective Night Country, will helm it under the new overall deal with HBO. Season 4 is the most watched installment of the show to date, with 12.7 million across platform viewers. The new trailer, now this looks really interesting. The new trailer for Jeff Nichols' The Bikers, starring Tom Hardy and Austin Butler and Jodie Comer, is going to be in theaters June 21st. It looks good, guys, and everybody looks so cool. Everybody looks really, really cool in this trailer for the bike riders. And get this, 93-year-old Clint Eastwood directing his latest film, Juror Number 2. And he's just keep on ticking. He is wonderful. I love this guy. Also, Leslie Bibb is Diana Donahue, an up-and-coming Palm Beach socialite who has to lose. She has much to lose if her secrets are spilled. And this is a series called Palm Royale, which premieres March 20th on Apple TV. And now this is the news that's been talked about in the last week, and this is The Crow. Now is going to be having a reboot. It will finally release on June 7th on theaters, starring Bill Skarsgård. And people are not loving the initial photos that are coming from this at all. And which I think is very interesting because The Crow was all about its visual. That's the whole thing everybody loved about it, was sort of the goth 90s look that was, and it not necessarily devoted to the 90s, but it was something that people were attracted to. And so we have a completely different look happening and perhaps veering away too much from the initial design. And this says Rochelle Davis doesn't like Bill Skarsgård's look in The Crow, saying it's a dingy, dirty, grungy look that makes him look like the villains he should be fighting. She adds that they should have cast someone who resembles Brandon Lee out of respect. And there's a lot of talk about respect, if they should even be doing this movie to begin with. Alex Garland himself was very vocal about not liking this movie. That Alex Garland, is it not Alex Garland? I think it is. You guys, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Just was not pleased with the version. Now, on your right is the comic book, the traditional look that we're pretty much familiar with, which is very cool. But there was an edition of that look called that we see that is very similar. They really are channeling the comics in this particular case. So it's a debate that's going around, and again, I think that people really were attracted to this look on the right as far as what they associate with the Crow and why so many people love the Crow. Now, Daniel Levy has been cast as the live-action hybrid animal friends. The movie also stars Ryan Reynolds, Addison Rae, Jason Momoa, and Audrey Plaza. I really am looking forward to seeing the trailer to this. Colin Farrell is a private investigator on a mission in Sugar, the movie Sugar, and the trailer is out already. We don't have a release date though. Denzel Washington and Spike Lee are set to remake Akira Kurosawa's High and Low, and it breaks new ground for their partnership after 34 years. This is really highly anticipated. Really, I'm looking forward to seeing this. Joanna Callow, the Bear, is set to write the script of Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts. So people are really liking this series, The Bear, and also they have been really raking up a lot of awards this award season. So she may be able to do some justice to this. Again, I'm really not liking the idea of the MCU doing one other separate movie. They really need to start figuring out how to incorporate all of these guys into one solid idea. Or, if you will, an event movies or event movies. And even though we were talking about just the script, Thunderbolts has begun filming already. So I guess they're filming with a working script, but it's not completely done yet. This is very competing news that's going on out there, but also, which one is true, if at all, and how are we pulling all of this together? How are we pulling all of this together as a concept? We're going to have all of these characters come together for an event. We need that. There's no continuity to pull us in to see, like, how does Scarlet Witch, what does she mean to this entire story? Like, we have all of these separate little things. How does Agatha work in this? Where does the She-Hulk fit in this thing? The Boys season, really most of all, where does Echo fit in all that? That would be, yeah, this is very, very interesting stuff. The Boys season 4 has set a June premiere date as Amazon drops a new teaser image. And this is really interesting because we have two of the the series' most scariest characters here, kind of looking, uh, working together, and it, this series really is cutting edge. It very is cutting edge, I would say. So people are definitely anticipating that. Emily Blunt is in talks alongside The Rock in his A24 drama, The Smashing Machine, directed by Benny Safdie. I'm looking forward to this. A drama that's pretty good for him. I like this move for The Rock. And Paramount has dated two new animated franchise picks. Paw Patrol 3, which will release on July 31st, 2026, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles follow-up to Mutant Mayhem on October 9th, 2026. So these are going to be far out, but nevertheless coming out. We also have the first trailer for the Wild Robot just landed. And I'm going to say this from just my own personal opinion. Really think this is awesome. It's not Disney though. It's Universal Pictures. Universal is just swinging. Okay, swinging. I'm really liking this company, Universal. Universal, please don't sell your company. Don't sell your company to Disney, and don't sell it to Warner Brothers. It is really a breath of fresh air to see something like this. Kind of reminds me of Wall-E. Where you have this robot that's in a unique atmosphere and is affecting this atmosphere. Very, very cute. Even uh, in the trailer, I got a little teary-eyed. I was like, "Aw!" there was a few moments. It'll be in theaters September 20th. I can't wait. Christopher Nolan says that the iconic line in The Dark Knight haunts him because he didn't write it. Oh, yeah. He says, "It kills me because it's the line that most resonates." I was like, all right, I'll keep it in there, but I don't really know what it means. It's really the thing. And the line he's talking about is the one that says, either you die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become one, become the villain. And that is a famous line. We all love that line. We also just got the first trailer for Kevin Costner's Horizon, an America's Saga, which has been released. Part 1 releases June 28th, and Part 2 releases in August, both in theaters. So we shall see this movie. And Bad Boys 4 has been moved up by 1 week to June 7th and will screen on IMAX theaters. Vin Diesel takes to social media to tease that The Last Witch Hunter 2 is in development, including a throwback image from the 2015 film. Disney picks up Korean spy drama, The Tyrant. I actually want to see this. Again, they're taking a page right out of Netflix by grabbing these already produced films and hosting it on their streaming platform. A great idea. But for Disney, we're actually expecting more, right? Let Netflix do this, and we'd like to see Disney put together something a little bit different. Hold on 1 second. I'm almost done, guys. Cameron Diaz is in the final talks to star alongside Keanu Reeves in Jonah Hill's Outcome. The film follows a damaged Hollywood star who must confront his past after he's extorted with a mysterious video clip. That looks interesting. The drama. And Ahmed Best reveals he's working on a new Star Wars project. I can't wait to find out what it is. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in, he says. And so, if you don't know, Ahmed Best is the person who voices and does the body acting for Jar Jar Binks. And Tashi Yamazaki wants to have Godzilla fight another kaiju in a Godzilla -1 sequel. He says, I don't know if anyone has achieved a more serious tone of kaiju versus kaiju with human drama. That challenge is something I would like to explore. And I think he can pull it off. I think he can pull it off. And speaking of our, the thing, it really kind of breaks my heart to say this, but Warner Brothers just took a 1.15 million tax write-down on projects mostly related to the animated division. And so it's not actually certain whether they did this already, and we believe that they did because they didn't. It wasn't picked up by anybody, but Coyote versus Acme might be part of that write-down. So. And the trial for Rust armorer has begun. Her defense lawyer argues that Alec Baldwin should not have pointed the gun at the cinematographer Halyna Hutchins, and that Baldwin failed to get proper training in how to perform a cross draw. And this is really one of those things where everyone's pointing fingers at the other guy, and I believe that they're all responsible in some fashion. Alec Baldwin, the actor, does not really, I think, have any culpability in this, but the fact that he was the producer definitely is a big eyebrow raiser. You're kind of saying like, okay, why don't we have enough money to have a better production on this? What was the problem? And we see that also based on some testimony and some comments that there may have been some negligence on the part of the armorer and some other people that were involved that didn't like the armor as well on set. So it's very, very interesting. We have to keep our eye on this because moving forward, there really should be more safety precautions on set when it comes to gun handling. And at this point, I wouldn't mind an empty gun, and you do all the. We're capable of doing ballistics with CGI and special lighting, and so why not do that? I don't mind seeing that done in that way. We don't have to do it absolutely authentically if we're going to endanger people's lives. We should know better by now. It's 2024. Let's start to, use some of the tools within our power. I don't always love CGI special effects for everything, like blood and that kind of stuff. But I don't mind it if we've got some flash effects and some bullets that are the CGI, as long as we save lives. We are not hurting each other to make films. So that's just something I was thinking. And this person, and Ravenwood Films says, in my 31 years in film, I have worked on dozens of film with gunplay and in which actors have been directed to aim either at or just off the lens. Nothing changes the fact that Reed allowed real bullets onto that set, and that is how Hutchins died. Ooh. And continues on, no bullets, and she'd still be alive. That's zero to do with Baldwin. This defense is laughable. And yeah, that's one point of view. And it's really quite sad. Also, this is a very interesting thing that happened, I found out. Um, we haven't gotten a verdict yet on, well, no, we got the verdict. We haven't gotten the sentencing for Jonathan Majors in the case against Grace Jabari. Now, there is, in previous lives, we've talked about the possibility that perhaps the injuries that Grace had incurred were injuries that happened after the entire night of everything we had seen on video, and that there was a certain amount of time in which before she was out with her friends and or out with strangers. I think that was, and then also when she got to she was actually in the closet, in Jonathan's closet, and between those two times, or those two events, something happened. And so it's very interesting that that night the two of them went to a play. This is going to blow your mind. And the play actually performs a lot of the things that actually played out in their situation. And so it was, is it that they saw the play and she got some ideas from the play, or it's very, very interesting. But this video actually explains it very well. And let me see if I can find that video, because that would be really great. I wonder if it'll let me. Now, this lady breaks it all down, and she talks in great detail about this in this video. So I'll forward that to you guys. And if you want to take a look at it yourself, you can. I thought it was very interesting, very interesting. And it's possible that there was some falsities happening in this particular trial, and so, or a false telling of the truth. And this girl, Kat, she's also on Twitter, and I managed to collect this information from her. She was just saying, look at the testimony. She testified that she was the aggressor, and also she attacks him again later on in the car. Part 2, 10 minutes after she claims her injuries occurred. The only other witnesses, the driver said he was doing nothing, she was doing everything. If the jury believed he beat her, they wouldn't have acquitted him of assault and with intent to cause physical injury or aggravated harassment. The jury was also not instructed on justification as a defense, though New York State case law says the court should have read the charge. So very interesting. Some things were left out. I don't know if it has to do with his lawyers or what the issue is, but that seems like something fell through the cracks there. And so I'm not a lawyer. I will only play one on television. But I find all of this stuff very fascinating, and the algorithm is just sending it to me because I find it exciting. So I thought this was something I could share with you guys if you were at all interested in seeing sort of the subtle things that you don't get from the news articles that sometimes you read, like Jonathan guilty, Jonathan Majors guilty, and it's a very shocking headline, but doesn't tell you the nuances of the situation. That could be that this man is innocent of the charges he's being accused of. So just saying that. Um, and now we only look forward to the Academy Awards that is happening on March 10, and that will be marking the end of award season. Very fun times. I really enjoyed this season. I think next year I might do something a little bit big for it all. Actually, do some videos surrounding them. But so far, I think because of this year has been really insane for me so far. I think I definitely next year want to do something a little bit bigger. And we're done. Nice. Thank you for hanging with me for all of this. And I finally got to finish everything. This is wild. And uh, let's see if I can get just a few comments. I'm sorry if I missed a whole bunch, but just wanted to get through that. And oh, I'm definitely interrupting a conversation. And Grumpy says, Retro Nerd Girl, that video is off. I don't know. It seems like the woman is more an aggressor than Majors, but I haven't seen it though. Really really weigh in. Yeah. But yeah, the link that I put in the chat is actually a um a law school, or I'm not sure if she's a law school, but she is definitely breaks down a lot of the law for you, and it goes through a series of explanations for what happened, and she's fantastic. I'm just going to tell you that she's. When I watched that video, and I was just like, wow, this is really I just felt like there was a miscarriage of justice there. And the thing is, most of the world thinks that he's guilty, and a lot of people don't know this. Um, uh, and so, yeah, I thought it was very important to share that. Um, and Grumpy says the media went full bore on him being guilty, as which is sus, though makes me believe otherwise. Yeah, and I was really disappointed with a lot of people who were like, "Oh yeah, Marvel needs to vet out their people much better." And I was like, how would they know anything about this? He, on the most part, was very dedicated to acting. You can tell that guy has a very, very hard time talking to people. He is not a social butterfly. He is a person who is dedicated to his work. He's very serious. So I think a lot of people don't like that. They want to be around people who are like, "Hey, come on, let's party. Hey, and he's not like that. He's very, very down to business. And so I also think he was terrible with his girlfriends. Okay, I think he was horrible as a boyfriend. Um, and this is teaching him a lesson about that. But what a way to do it! What a way to do it! I think that. And Thomas is like, I'm just glad to hang out. You are awesome. I love I love hanging out too. It's fun to talk about stuff. Yes, it is. And throw in your opinion. And Grumpy says, I got it open at another time. I'll check it out for sure. Yes, I hope that it's very informative for you. I thought I was fascinated by it. It was really great. Um, and Grumpy says most of the world thought Johnny Depp was guilty as well. Yes, and that's a very nuanced situation. I think it's not about guilty or not guilty. I don't think it is. And um, in the whole thing about her claims, look, I wasn't there, but it doesn't look it didn't look good on her part. Is all I'm saying. And Thomas says, I love a totally huge DCEU talk, to be honest. Oh, like to do a deep dive in DCEU? Yeah. Um, I can I can do some talk, some good talk. I probably know more about Warner Brothers than I probably than I'm more of a person who monitors Warner Brothers activities more than anything, but it is definitely like fascinating. I think I could even get deeper into it, but I haven't. But I'm definitely a fan of some of the stuff that the earlier stuff. Uh, definitely Zach's movies, and not so much the other stuff that there. I've yet to see Wonder Woman, and that's. I'm looking forward to seeing Wonder Woman for the first time. And Grumpy says Jonathan Majors is dang good actor. He's not a dang good human. He clearly has a lot of learning to do. I agree. Yeah, I think there's a lot of there's awkwardness with him. The way he answers questions, really, I have a lot of sympathy for that because I'm very um, much identify like that too. Like, but even though I seem to be very social, there is a part of me that is antisocial as well. It's just weird. Introvert, extrovert. And he's very much like a guy about the job. And I love that about him, but I also think that that'll get you so far when it comes to Hollywood, because Hollywood, they want you to play. They want you to, it's schmoozing and who you know and stuff. And he's really been getting there by his work ethic and his work. So, uh, yeah, I hope he still has a chance to come back as an actor, but he's going to have to. I think this was a learning lesson he had to endure because you can't, you have got to treat people with respect, especially if you're dating them, because nowadays it's like your relationships are not secret. I mean, I just saw this really incredible um, situation where a young girl tried to out her father on TikTok, and he came back and he was like, "Oh, let me tell you, that is not true." And on top of that, he had receipts. He had receipts, and she's like, "Oh, he's not a part of my life." And he was like, "Oh, really?" And he brought out video. Yeah, he brought out video, and yeah, you you got to be careful what you do and what you say privately, even if you think you're a nobody, if you think nobody's going to know. um, it will be used against you in the court of public opinion eventually one day. And oh, you're so sweet. Thank you, Thomas. And Grumpy says, I'm back through Gargoyles, but I'm itching to rewatch the entire DC. Yeah. Oh, cool. All right, let's see. Um, Hold on a second. Oh, I'm sorry. I've been getting it wrong. You're like DCAU, meaning animated universe. Sorry about that. I got it wrong. Thank you. I mean, I just looked it up. Sorry about that. Yes, okay. I'd like to get into the DCAU as well. And Thomas says, I like the last season of Loki. It was okay. I loved it. Oh my God. I loved the whole thing. It was really great. Um, and Grumpy says, I agree. It's not about guilt. It's about right and wrong. Yeah. And also, like, you know, I don't know. I think what the situation was like, believe victims is a great idea if indeed the person who is saying that they're a victim is a victim, because we know that sometimes people lie, and I don't know what the reasoning is for sometimes people lying to say that they have been sexually, I mean, that they've been assaulted. Sorry about that. If they've been SA'd, is that what we call it? If they've been um, uh, like something has happened to them that is, on the physical of the physical nature. You know, the idea is to believe everybody, but for some reason, some people don't tell the truth about it. Or also, um, in this case, we saw a lot of activity on both their parts that was very, um, toxic. They were just not really good for each other, and so I feel bad that we were inside of this couple's relationship we had no business in. we have no like we had no business in being in their business, but it became everybody's business. And Thomas says DCAU did something amazing with DC for years. And Grumpy says Wonder Woman was very nice, really liked it despite the weak third act. I think you'll enjoy it. 1984, maybe not so much. Was uh, uh, was mostly on point. Um, all right, let's see. I'm gonna zoom down really quickly. Sorry if I missed some of these, guys. Um, and Grumpy says, I understand, Retro, that's why I don't believe them, but I do believe evidence. People lie far more than evidence can be forced to lie. Yes, it's really sad. It breaks my heart when that. I also have to ask myself, those people who do lie, there's something going on with them. They need help, and that's another level. Thomas says I enjoyed the Wonder Woman and the first Aquaman of those films. Oh, I can't wait to see them both, and I haven't seen them both. Um, and Grumpy says those were the good days of voice acting for the DCAU. And it was done with everyone in the same room instead of pre-recorded different parts of the world. Yeah, well, yeah, I definitely have to get back into, get into it. Well, guys, I think that is going to be it for me. 3 hours and 30 minutes. That's a lot. That's a lot of time. I was only supposed to do an hour and 30 minutes, but it's a joy. It's a joy. You guys, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Have fun. I hope it's nice where you are and you're enjoying a fantastic day. Thanks for spending your morning with me. And we had such juicy conversations. It was just wonderful. So my next thing is going to be Saturday. We're going to be looking at Dune 1984. And let's see if I can just verify that really quick. Yes, Dune 1984 watch party Saturday. And just look out for the time to see what time it's going to be. I believe it's this time I actually have it the right time. And look out for me to announce probably in the community tab um, if I'll be doing a 2-week break, and or if you don't hear from me in 2 weeks, definitely um, that's exactly what's happening. Also, for members and Patreon members, nothing will change. You will still get your reports on time, and that will be really pretty much it. So hopefully either I will see you next week or I won't. I'm not sure yet, but stay tuned and watch out for the community tab. I'll let you guys know what I'm doing then. Or if you're on Twitter or X, I'll be announcing it there. So take care, guys. I hope you're going to have a fantastic day. And without further ado, I bid you adieu, and I'll see you in the next one of these. Take care.
Retro Nerd Girl, you are clear for takeoff.